Sometimes I'd say it's the fault of people want to be mad at everything. Other times from maybe you just don't tell it, so it's quite clear. Or third option, you say it in a way that people who know you and are familiar with you would get it, but others don't. But let me make it wilder. Let me throw something else into here. It's especially worse when you say a joke, people flip out on you, and you tell them I was joking. Like, oh no, so now you're backing away now. I'm like, no, bro, I never had this viewpoint. It was always a joke, always. Not that I would know.
Oh, so basically me on the tier list?
Yes, I would have to say yes. Goodness. That's why I should pull up.
Where's the open file location option? Where's the open file location option?
The only thing that I am open to file is taxes. Also, that reminds me, guys, I've given a lot of thought about rich people and billionaires, and I don't hate billionaires for being billionaires. But you know what I do hate? Hypotheticals. And hypothetically, if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't want to pay my fucking taxes.
I mean, how else would you become a billionaire? By paying your taxes?
Yeah, for a while. I mean, you could tax evade. But I don't know. It's just that, like, I talked to Zach, who's making like 100-something K a year, and he says that he loses like, what, 30 or 40% of that shit just to taxes. I'm like, bro, that's awful. But yeah, that's all I have to say about tax evasion. Not that I commit it.
But I don't know. It just seems, I don't know, like, it seems like lower class people who try to make more money, they just get punished for doing so.
Yeah. Hey, Miles, remember how in the Cryptid podcast you not showing up made Solsa's bandwidth worse?
Yeah.
As soon as you came on, my computer started whimmering a bit louder than usual. What do you have on that influences all technology to work harder?
Might have to
Is that what I hear in the background? Is that what I'm hearing in the background that's buzzing?
I don't know. Do you hear anything on my end?
No, I don't. And like also...
Man, are we just gonna sit
here?
I
don't hear anything. I don't hear anything when no one's not talking. Like I see the green ring on Discord, and like when no one's green ring is on, or since you guys aren't talking right now, when I stand to listen, I don't hear anything.
Right. All right, but yeah, gentlemen, we're all here. Fantastic. Oh man, excuse me.
This is great. We are all here.
We're all here. It has been a while, even though we've been posting like crazy for the past 2-3 weeks. It's been a month, I think. I mean, if you consider our channel's analytics, we are in business, baby.
You want to talk analytics? We can talk analytics. If you got good analytics, that's good to hear, man. Get them analytics up.
We're trying.
Get them up.
Get it, Raul. Yeah. Get it.
All right, fine. I will.
Get it.
I'm driving to YouTube's headquarters right now. Put all my videos at the top.
You know, a woman actually did that, and it didn't end well for her. I think she shot somebody, and then she killed herself.
Whoa.
I don't know how to aim it.
What?
All I'm saying is, Raul, if you did it, you could do some real damage. Just think about it.
Maybe I could. Oh, there's so much I could say, but I'm not going to. It's so charged. All right.
Hey, you guys ever be with a friend and they started... Wait, I got one last thing. You guys ever be with a friend and they started admitting to some things you don't want to know, so you can't be liable? It's like, I don't want to have to tell the police on you, but if you keep talking, you're going to put me in a really rough spot, bro. Because it's not fun.
That's like an everyday at work thing for me.
Bruh. Right, tried to avoid the OSHA violations.
Bro, how we get most of the stuff done at work is OSHA violations.
Damn, bro. Alright, but...
Mark does that a bit, but only a bit. But yes, I will.
But yeah, gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Lone Colony Podcast. Joining me today, we got Lee. Wait, what's up, Lee?
I didn't know we started. I got my boy in the best. What's up?
Wait, what?
Don't worry about any of that, Raul.
I think I will worry about it because a lot of things are going to shit recently. Don't worry, nothing bad will happen when you join me this Saturday for the thing we're about to talk about today.
That sounds great.
Yeah, don't worry, the food is fine. Oh, everything is fine. There's nothing
Food
below
better
the
be fine.
floorboards.
You don't know that, Raul, because you're not the one bringing food. So some of the food can't be fine. Why do you make me such assurances like this, Raul, that you can't possibly know?
Maybe I do know. Maybe I have the power to foresee the future. Have I ever told you guys how I predicted the raid on Area 51 and the movie Hobbs and Shaw? And I'm not even hyperbolizing, I'm being very literal here.
You remember,
No.
you
No, you
remember
haven't.
when I had very accurate predictions
Wait, about what?
about Mecha Godzilla being Godzilla versus Kong?
All
about
right, you
Godzilla
did
being
predict
Wolf's
that. You did. During the tier list. Remember, Miles?
No.
All right.
I'm pretty fried, not gonna lie.
Right, you don't watch any of my videos. That's fine, that's fine. They're pretty shit anyway.
I watched your videos, Raul. I was surprised I wasn't the only one who commented, and you got a lot of views on it too, so that's impressive.
A lot of views. I guess.
Shut up, Lee.
I said I guess. Is that not enough for you? You want me to guess? Do you want me to make an estimate? Because that's just a guess with more logic.
Right. Alrighty. Well, guess this is good enough for a cold open.
Oh, can I just add real quick? I showed my dad the tier list, and he didn't like it.
Yeah, no, I know. 0 out of 10, Nathan's dad. Too much comedy. Noted. Man, everyone just went silent.
I thought it was Nathan's time to respond because it looked like he was queuing up to say something, but let you finish, and then he just didn't speak. So I'm like, what's going on here?
Nathan, what? Alright, don't worry about it.
My dad is literally capable in Deadpool 2. You remember that one part when he's like, "So dark. Are you sure you're not from the DC universe?"
Right.
Yes, I do remember that part.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of DC and Deadpool, I'm gonna just I'm probably gonna repeat a lot of things that I said in the last attempt we tried. Thank you, Nathan.
You're welcome. Now it's gonna be better.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get us fired up because there's a couple things that I want to touch on. First of all, hello, welcome back, Lone Colony Podcast. We're gonna make this nice and quick because it is 10 p.m. where we are. Everyone in my house is sleeping, and I'm pretty sure everyone else in this episode wants to sleep too. Sorry, Miles.
You're making it sound like such boomers. Like, guys, it's 10 p.m. at night. Like, you make it sound like that's so late.
Some people it is.
Get up at like 5 in the morning.
I mean, I suppose, I guess, but I don't know. I'm just figuring like, I want the people to think we're still hip. Young, but not too young. But fine, go on. Continue your intro.
I'm old. Anyways, first off, just want to give a congratulations to SAG-AFTRA for ending the strike. 118 days. How many months is that? I don't have a calculator with me.
At least 3.
A lot of people are just sharing again that, the strike has ended. I didn't have a chance to read it because I needed to prepare for the podcast, but yeah, I just wanted to send my congratulations to everyone at the picket lines. So glad that you guys came to a proper conclusion, and hopefully, I hope the actors got away with a fair deal. But yeah, congratulations.
As do I.
Yeah.
Also, this is helpful to my sister. This is helpful to my sister specifically because she's an actor, but even though she's in Canada and not even part of the Guild Union, a lot of Canadian TV and movie productions are basically American products. Not basically, they are American projects. So like when the strikes happen with like the actors and the writers, work slowed down for her a lot. So I hope they can start up again very soon.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't know that about your sister. Huh.
Yes, she was in Titans, the DC one.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yes, she was in Star Trek: Brave New Worlds, and she's in some other stuff. But those are the two most popular.
Damn, if I had a quarter every time I talked to a friend who knows a friend who made it into the industry, I would have two. Which isn't a lot, but it's still weird it happened twice.
Can you help me get into the industry?
Oh yeah, Nathan wanted to become an actor.
Hell yeah, Nathan, if you do some things for me under the table.
Lee, no.
Under the table, what am I gonna have to do? Suck some never mind.
Oh, bro, you gotta find somebody to just suck some. Let's never mind on that as well. But yes.
So good job, everybody. Proud of you. I'm glad that you guys broke out a deal.
It's like almost 4 months actually.
Oh damn! Even shit.
And can I just give a congratulations to Godzilla -1 for 100% critic rating?
Oh, that leads me to another thing I need to talk about. So this doesn't affect you, Nathan, but Lee, Miles, remember how I invited you guys for Godzilla -1 on December 1st?
If you haven't, it completely slipped my mind.
Alright, so I'm just gonna tell you all about my adventures for the past 25 days real quick. So, back on October 20th, it was confirmed that Godzilla -1 would be premiering here in Canada. And the release date was supposed to be December 1st. And I was like, cool, awesome. However, after that announcement, tickets were not made available. However, there was a rumor floating around that said tickets will probably go on sale sometime in November 1st. And I was like, okay, cool. So I waited 20 days. November 1st came around, checked my Cineplex website, no showtimes. I was like, maybe they're a little late. So waited a little longer and checked again on Friday. No screen times. I was like, alrighty. I'll check next week. Monday rolls around, check, no screen times. And this is when I started to get a little concerned. Check again on Wednesday, no screen times. Check again on Friday, no screen times. And at this point I'm like, oh god, who dropped the ball? Who's telling the truth? Who's telling the lies? Riddles and rhymes. Oh no. Check again next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, still no screen times. And now here we are, 25 days since that post, and we are coming up on half a month before Godzilla -1 is supposed to release here in theaters, and still we have no screen times. I've been asking around, I've been checking the Reddit, everyone is also confused. They're like, hey, there's no screen times, what's going on here? So, been messaging, our local theater chains, Cineplex, and I think the other one is like Northwood or something like that. And it's really concerning when they're also confused about this movie supposedly coming out here. So I asked a reliable source if what he said was true, and he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'll ask if there's any more information, because maybe we'll get it later. So now I'm just waiting here, hoping for some information, and I'm just gonna say it. Man, there's no good time to be a Godzilla fan, but damn, I wish I was not living in Canada. Because for some reason, there's just some fucking curse when it comes to Godzilla in Canada. I don't know what it is.
That's unfortunate too, because we live in a part of Canada where, like, well, what's it called? Let's say there's a North American tour, but that just means America and this one spot in Canada. We live in one of the few spots, or near one of the few spots in Canada, we can enjoy some of this stuff.
Yep.
I'm surprised it hasn't come by, because like with the movies, it feels like this should be a relatively simple thing to roll out with us at the same time. There's still like a market in Canada for this type of thing, but I don't know.
Yeah. So right now I'm just waiting. Apparently the other theater chain has been silently putting out like screen times, but for now it's like confined to this one city near Ottawa. So for now my options are either 2 hours to the States or 4 hours to this one city. We'll see how things pan out on December 1st. Anyways, how are you guys? How are things?
I mean, I'm doing okay. Been working on this One Piece video. Been doing a lot of content.
Yes, mid-piece.
It's called a One Piece. Say mid-piece in the wrong hoods, you get jumped by anime fans. And we're not just neckbeards anymore. We got people who go to the gym as well. We're still mostly neckbeards, but we're diversifying. It takes some time.
Yes,
I've been doing good.
I fear no man. Anyways, to
make matters worse, can I just add that I'm going to an early screening of -1?
Yeah, you lucky bastard. I'm pretty sure if the situation in Canada continues the way it is, we're not gonna get that special screening. So, adios potential to watch it in IMAX 2 days early. Thanks, Cineplex, you stupid sons of bitches.
It's most unfortunate.
Yeah, anyways.
But it's my experience of talking about One Piece specifically, I had a situation with you which was similar, but mine just less research. Because, One Piece, like Godzilla -1, is made in Japan. And there's this One Piece movie called Strong World, which I was looking forward to for a lot. For a lot of time, I'd get the trailers, they'd have English subtitles. I'm like, oh my god, the One Piece movie's coming out. And then when it came out, I found out that was just when it was releasing in Japan. And there was no official date for when it's coming to English. And I was just to clarify, this is not like now when the Jujutsu Kaisen Zeros or the My Hero movies. There weren't really many anime movies coming to the theaters at the time, bro. It took forever for that to come out. So I do feel your pain of being ready to watch something, thinking you'll be watching very soon, and then you're gonna have to wait a very long time.
Yeah.
At least
I think
that kind of
for
sucks.
me the irritation is you have this one source that says it's coming out December 1st, but then you have the theater chains that's like, what? Who? And, it's like a little bit more transparency, a little bit more confidence would have been nice. A little bit more competence would also be nice, but hey, it's the world we live in. Anyways, we're not talking about Godzilla -1. We're talking about the other Godzilla thing, which, one last dig at the whole -1 situation. At least with the MonsterVerse, we know when and where these things are releasing. I'll give them that much. Meanwhile, here we're still struggling to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Watch they delay the Canadian release.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't worry, we're just gonna buy
Canadian release.
Yeah.
We're just gonna buy VPNs and watch it that way.
Dude, it's coming out in theaters. I don't think VPNs will allow us to do that.
We'll get a VPN live stream though. I don't know.
Alright, anyways. Long way to get to the topic of the video.
But go with it.
Yeah. Joining us again after quite a while, we have Lee T. Simba, and then joining us not too long ago, we have Miles and Nathan. Gentlemen, welcome back.
I'm sorry for my comments on the last podcast.
Why does everyone think the last thing we did was a podcast when it's a tier list?
I'm sorry about the comments I made on the tier list.
Bro. Miles, what were you trying to say?
If we're being honest.
I said I thought the last thing we did was the cryptid thing.
Technically, the last thing we did do was the cryptid podcast, but then I uploaded the Godzilla tier list on Godzilla Day, which is November 3rd.
Ah.
Yeah.
Miles, I definitely need to apologize to you because I was listening to that. I was making a lot of rude comments, and I am sorry.
You were?
Well, I remember something about saying, you know who else is cooler than Jet Jaguar or something like that, and I was like, your mom, and you're like, oh, thank you. But, that's so kind of rude.
We took that as a genuine compliment, dude. A lot of things are cooler than Jet Jaguar, and apparently Miles' mom is one of them. Congratulations.
Yay.
Yeah. Lee is so confused because he's the only one who hasn't seen the podcast. I mean, the tier list. Oh god, I'm becoming like you guys now.
You see, Raul, you've ruined it. The moment you just said the word podcast, it's dead. You say tier list, it was just a podcast. So let's stop playing games. Let's get into what we're about to get into.
Yep. Gentlemen, today... gentlemen, guys, lads, my people. Today we are talking about another MonsterVerse property because apparently we can't stop talking about them. Last time was Skull Island grouped up with Gamma Rebirth, and then before that it was just, 4 different podcasts talking about Godzilla King of the Monsters before the movie eventually came out. And
no podcast talking about GVK?
Or G14. But yeah, anyways, today we are talking about the long-awaited, long-speculated, and for some reason a lot of people thought was canceled, Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Actually,
why did people think this was canceled? Did it just go a long amount of time without any updates on it?
Yeah, I'll explain that in a bit, but before we begin, I actually have a bunch of notes again. Gentlemen, today we're talking about Monarch Legacy of Monsters and potentially Godzilla x Kong, the New Empire, because I've been meaning... I think, in terms of where we're going to take this conversation, we'll probably dip our toes a little bit in the overall MonsterVerse as well. So, we might as well bring up...
it is MonsterVerse.
Yeah, so we might as well bring up the other MonsterVerse movie that's coming out in April. But, yeah. Monarch Legacy of Monsters set to release later this week. We tried to do this podcast a number of times. Hopefully, lucky number 4 is all I'll say.
Actually, I need to stop you right there.
Yeah.
You said... Did you say it's releasing next week?
Oh wait, no, sorry, I mean this week. Oh man.
Yep. Go on.
Nathan, you... I know you're joking, but please stop.
I don't know if he was joking, bro.
There we go. Alrighty, so, just gonna give a little bit of, some background work. Hold up. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong tab. Oh, boy.
Actually, if Raul finds this one tab, I will feel comfortable talking about this Monarch series.
Pornhub.
No, that was another thing, which we will or will not talk about. I gotta say, I really don't like a lot of these shows released for Apple TV because Apple TV, from my understanding, is producing it. And the reason why I don't like that is because whenever an Apple TV show comes out, I just don't hear about it. And I don't have all the streaming platforms. But when stuff is on Disney Plus and Netflix and Prime Video, I'll hear about it more. But even for the really good Apple TV stuff, it's I'll rarely ever hear about it. People say, Severance is so good. I'm like, what? Really? Where did I watch it? Apple Plus. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good off that. But I mean, at the very least, I can't fault Apple because I don't know how their marketing works. But if it's produced by them, it's probably because it wouldn't be made if they weren't producing it. Or who knows? Maybe they just offered a higher price than another group who wanted to produce the movie. But yeah, that's my little tangent on that. Raul, do you have the stuff?
Yeah, I got the stuff. And to add to what you said, yeah, I think a lot of people share the same sentiment with you. Recently I finished a show called Invasion, which was also produced by Apple TV, and I think it was alright. I really like Season 1. I think Season 2 didn't hit the same highs as Season 1. I think they go a little too fantastical with it, but overall I think it was an alright show. 8 out of 10 probably. Give it a check if you want to know.
An 8 out of 10 sounds like a bit more than an alright show. It was alright. It was decent. It was 8 out of 10. Like, what?
That's decent's 5.
To me, a decent's like a 6. It was okay. It was alright.
Alright, fine. 7. God.
Word. Damn. We turned you the hater real quick.
Good?
Okay,
good?
Okay, yeah, it's good. I like Season 1 because it reminded me a lot of the best of War of the Worlds, pretty much. But Season 2 just kind of got rid of the best parts of it, and just, I think the problem was we started to know what the aliens were by Season 2. And, a lot of the menace, a lot of the mystery and fear of them just kind of disappeared when we started to know more of them. Or when they started to change, so yeah.
Wait, hold on. Pause. I felt like you started that story, then forgot why you started telling it. The one about the show you just watched, I mentioned my Apple TV, and then you said, Lee, I think a lot of people would agree to the Apple TV sentiment. And then said, I watched this, that was also on Apple TV. And then you just kind of told us about the show, but do you not have a greater point? Did you just want to tell us you like the show?
Oh, no, okay, actually, no, I remember. I was trying to go on the quality of the shows that Apple TV usually makes. So, Invasion was pretty good. Monarch Legacy of Monsters is looking really good. I hear Severance is also pretty good. I think the problem, which, kind of gets to another topic I really wanted to talk about, which is kind of connected to this show and another MonsterVerse show that released on Netflix. And I think that kind of gets into a bigger problem with streaming in general, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Alright, so with that out of the way, man, I shouldn't have said it like that, fuck. Monarch Legacy of Monsters, yes. And it is thundering like hell outside. Goddamn. Anyways.
It makes you feel any better, I can't hear it on my end.
Yeah, is it... You know what, never mind. We're not talking about the weather. The absolute crazy state the Canadian weather has been. We're talking about Monarch Legacy of Monsters, the long-awaited series that a lot of people thought was canceled, but here it is, along with Skull Island. Now, Lee, to answer your initial question, yes, a lot of people thought this series was canceled, mainly due to the fact that I feel like this is the case.
Nothing was announced.
Yeah, I feel like that's the case with a lot of streaming shows. They leave a lot of the announcements or information down to the metaphorical last minute. And what I mean by that is usually they start promoting it really late. They'll start shoving trailers and TV spots and all this kind of promotional stuff little less than a month before it happens. Recently we had the Godzilla Day celebration, and they showed off a behind-the-scenes look during that live cast, and they officially posted that video onto YouTube. But it's like when you compare it to other productions that have been happening for the past couple of years, what happened with Monarch and even Skull Island, the animated series, which also a lot of people thought were canceled because no one was saying anything. There's just a thing about just keeping to this silence and not sharing anything. And this was way before the strikes even began. So there were no interviews with the creators, no interviews with actors. There were no articles being published, only dates, and even those were pretty sparse.
I think the tragic thing about Skull Island being released by Netflix, that Netflix is also known to randomly just drop something like, hey, this thing you're looking forward to? Yeah, it's coming out. Snap of the fingers right now. They did that with JoJo, and oh my god, and I know what you mean, because it's just. Oh yeah, that was Wait, Cloverfield was the one they announced during the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, and it was the same day it dropped too.
Yeah.
And it said as soon as the Super Bowl's done, some Cloverfield. But even though it's not Netflix this time, because I think Apple TV is producing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's tough because I'm looking at some the trailers and teasers, and the first official trailer seemed to launch 3 weeks ago, and the actual it's a bit odd. So I know. Because I don't know what the sweet spot is. Was that?
I was just gonna say, isn't Apple notorious for dropping the trailers a month before the show actually releases?
Yeah, that's something that I've heard.
I actually don't watch Apple TV at all, so I would not know. I hear Severance is good though, but they're not even in my radar of things to keep track of.
Yeah, but I feel like this is a general problem with streaming shows. Not only for Netflix and Apple, but just in general. They just feel that to promote it poorly and just hope for for the Golden Boy series, pretty much. I'm not even sure how much marketing Stranger Things got before it blew up, so...
Not a whole lot. It just kind of showed up.
Yeah.
Did it? Because I felt like it was a very huge thing, Stranger Things. I mean... Maybe it's a bit hard.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a bit harder to sell because with Stranger Things, that's season 1 of this show in its own universe. As opposed to let's say Monarch, it's it's the first season of the show, but it's within already an established universe. So I feel like it makes more sense to build that kind of thing up as opposed to let's say newer IPs.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You got to support your IP somehow.
Yeah.
Like I guess the only like streaming giant that's I feel probably promotes the shows pretty decently is probably like Disney Plus. I feel like every time one of those MCU Plus shows comes out, there's always like a huge amount of marketing for it. I think it's died down a little bit, but like besides them, a lot of these people just like
Star
there's a
Wars
show coming out in
too,
a month. Take it.
especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. They promote Star Wars like crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like good points all around. Yeah, actually, that's another thing with Disney Plus series. It's kind of weird because it's almost like when one series ends, it kind of acts as a semi-promotion for the next series, even if the next series isn't connected to the initial one. You kind of notice this pattern between, Marvel series, then Star Wars series, Marvel series, another Star Wars series. It's kind of a way to keep people engaged with the platform.
Oh, I see what you mean. Not necessarily like they're promoting each other, but more so like they always have them like in a rotation. So like when one series ends, especially with like the first MCU TV shows they were doing, it's like every time one ended, a week would pass and the next one would start, and it was like that for months.
Yeah.
Want to keep that steady line of content going.
Yeah.
That actually is a question I want to tie into Monarch Legacy of Monsters because this show isn't even out yet, Raul. So I imagine you must have had something specific you wanted to talk about if we're doing a podcast.
I was hoping, the initial idea for this, I had 2 initial ideas for this. This is the 3rd one. Initially I wanted to do like an analysis, going through some of the clips in the trailers and the behind the scenes stuff, and maybe even extract some stuff from some interviews, which I have in some of my notes. And, just do more analyses and try to answer some questions, because I've also noticed that some people are kind of a little confused with the series. I'm seeing a lot of people asking, where does this take place in the greater MonsterVerse? How does it connect to future entries, i.e. Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, which we might talk about here if we have the chance, and, what pieces of media we probably have to consume before watching this series, because there is a lot of stuff that is supposed to happen in this series, despite it arguably taking place in a relatively lax time in the MonsterVerse timeline. Also, like I said, I was like really busy doing other stuff because I was also catching up on some of the other extended MonsterVerse lore. Like I was reading Godzilla Awakening because this kind of harkens to the story beats in that story a bit, and I actually have a pretty insane theory, but yeah.
Actually, no, I think I have a question at this point now. I mean, I guess it makes sense to have like questions of this series because even though it's not out yet, it being announced is already leaves question in itself.
Yeah.
But the questions you said people are wondering about, do you already have the answers to some of them?
Yes, I do.
Tell me more.
Yeah, so I guess one thing that kind of caught me off guard is we already have a couple of trailers, we already have a couple of clips, and one thing that I kind of realized is, so the core events of Monarch Legacy of Monsters is supposed to take place between the events of Godzilla 2014 and Godzilla King of the Monsters. But what I found out was it's not too far off from the events of 2014. Apparently the core events of the series takes place in the year 2015. And I kind of noticed that some of the characters in the trailers are saying, what is Monarch? And that's kind of interesting because I was always under the impression that after Godzilla and the Mutos destroyed San Francisco, Monarch would be like, you got us. It was us the whole time, keeping the monsters a secret. Sorry guys, but apparently that might not be the case. It looks like they remained in hiding past the events of 2014 up to 2015, maybe even further than that. So maybe we might see how Monarch ends up in the limelight, how they might end up being exposed to the greater world of the MonsterVerse, because as we've seen in Godzilla King of the Monsters, Monarch has more or less become a household name in a way.
Can I give my 2 cents into that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I kind of feel like the way this is gonna go, is gonna lead into that with King of the Monsters when they're having all those court hearings.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all paid attention to stuff like this, but you know how like UFOs and stuff like that in the U.S. has been like it's been like that's a conspiracy theorist thing, and blah 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 blah.
Right.
But it led up to the point where we're actually having Congress having hearings about UFOs now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in real life. Yeah,
I feel like this series is gonna lead up to like a political aspect of where like Monarch has no choice but to come out into the open, and I feel like when the series ends, it's gonna lead into King of the Monsters with those said court hearings.
I would not be surprised if that was the case. And also to add to what you said, we see quite a bit in the trailers, but a lot of the creators behind the series stated that a lot of the clips that we do see in the trailers happen within the first 5 episodes of the series. So there is almost a full half of show that we haven't seen yet.
I'd argue there's a full 2 halves of show we almost haven't seen yet through the clips. But I see what you're getting at.
Yeah.
One thing this is a bit different from everything that's been discussed, because if this is taking place about 2015, and I believe the timeline of these movies tends to kind of run across our timeline in the real world.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how likely it is that we see a lot of these characters who are being introduced into Monarch currently, because the thing is, like, I don't not necessarily teenagers, but no, there's the Asian girl I saw, the one black brother with. They look on the younger side, and I feel like if this is taking place a bit through like 2015, and then we're gonna jump ahead. Let's say we see them in Godzilla Kong New Empire. That's kind of like, if I'm doing the math on this correctly, like maybe like a 9-8 year gap from when we've seen them in Monarch.
It might be a little bit more, because I think I heard rumors that Godzilla X Kong might take place 5 years from now, like Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing
I heard I heard that Godzilla X Kong takes place in 2028.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Oh yeah, that's about covered.
Yeah.
And things like that worries me a bit. So like, I know people don't care because we have a bunch of shows like Riverdale and like teen dramas with like grown adults playing teenagers, and I can tell these people aren't teenagers already. But I feel like it'd be very weird to see these people in Monarch, and then next year see the new Godzilla movie and see them in it, saying it's been 8-10 years, and seeing them look exactly the same. And I feel like it makes me feel question if these characters are even going to be relevant in New Empire. And would you guys think that's a possibility?
Honestly,
I honestly doubt it.
Yeah, that's honestly fair, but at the same time, in terms of where we are with the Monsterverse, we've seen characters come and go. I think it's already been confirmed that Mark Russell and Madison Russell, Millie Bobby Brown's character, and Kyle Chandler's character from King of the Monsters won't return for Godzilla X Kong. So they're kind of cycling them out for the Kong cast from Godzilla versus Kong. Oh my god, I'm getting jumbled up a bit.
But yeah, one of the main reasons why they do the time jump is because of how much I forgot what the actress's name is, but the one who plays Gia, how much she's actually aged since they filmed Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
That they had to do a time jump if they were going to bring her back.
Yeah. Actually, it's kind of weird, because after Godzilla vs. Kong came out, it's like, man, that actress for Gia is pretty good. Oh, she's appearing in a car. Who the hell is this? Because the film was supposed to release... Okay, initially it was supposed to release in 2019, but I think they pushed it back. And
2019?
Yeah, initially...
I've always heard that was going to release in May 2020.
No, I think
back in 2015, I heard... That's what I remember hearing in 2015.
I remember the original release dates were supposed to be King of the Monsters in 2018, and then Godzilla vs. Kong in 2019, but then everything got pushed back.
Actually, real quick to interject on that, because I was looking up the actress for Gia. What's her name? Her name's Kaylee Huddle. Yep. She's currently 11, and in my mind, I feel like pushing the timeline forward 5 years or something like that. it feels like not the best choice, especially when literally 5 years in our time haven't passed and we're dealing with somebody so young. So I'm not sure. I mean, maybe there might be a lore reason for it, but I felt like if you just push it forward maybe a few years, I think that made sense. But I'm trying to understand why push the timeline further when it's been running along us congruently. Kind of like how like the MCU was up until like Endgame, which pushed the timeline 5 times. I feel like and I understand why they did it in the MCU. It made sense there, but like, what do you think the reason could be for them wanting to do that with the MonsterVerse?
I don't know why they did that with Godzilla versus Kong, to say the least. Because yeah, the MonsterVerse, with the exception of Kong Skull Island, was running pretty much side by side. You know, to the point where pretty much every year, yeah, you know, the events of 2014 happened in 2014, and the events of King of the Monsters happened in 2019, which was the same year the film came out. But yeah, I don't know why they did the time skip for Godzilla vs. Kong. I guess to give Mechagodzilla more time to cook.
Well, how long was the time skip for Godzilla vs. Kong?
The film released in 2021, but it's supposed to take place in 2025.
Oh, I misunderstood. So they've already done it.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yep.
That makes even less sense because Millie Bobby Brown was it.
All right, true.
But I mean, maybe they're banking on like, you know what? Maybe people don't remember the. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine, I guess. I don't know. I'm not against like I'm jumping around. I just want it to kind of make sense. And if we are to see Gia again, I don't want it to be like, Gia, I'm actually 17 now, and you look 12. It's like who are we playing to here? Like, who's this for? What's going on?
whoa, hey.
Yeah, but I guess that's a lot of talk more so of what's it called? There's a lot of talk more of about the new Empire than I guess is for a Monarch.
Yeah.
And you guys being familiar with more like Godzilla stuff than me. Is there anything very specific you're looking forward to in Monarch?
Oh, one of the things I'm really looking forward to has to be the world building. I feel like that was something was missing in Godzilla King of the Monsters. Because here's something that you probably didn't know. Before the first trailer came out in Comic-Con, Warner Bros. Hired a bunch of street actors. And they made like these two groups. There was this one group that was holding up like protest signs and pamphlets that are like, we need to save Godzilla. Godzilla saved humanity. He's our savior. But then you have the other group that's anti-Godzilla, and it's like, we need Congress to destroy these things. And that was something I was really looking forward to in King of the Monsters. I thought we were going to see more ground level, how people were affected by the existence of Godzilla and the other Titans. And, we didn't get that because the story just didn't allow that to happen. But with Monarch Legacy of Monsters, now that we're facing, more normal characters, people who were on the ground when shit was going down between Godzilla and the Mutos, that's pretty exciting. Also, another thing is this time period between G14 and Godzilla King of the Monsters, I think will serve as a much needed connective tissue that I felt was missing between the two films. Because I said in the King of the Monsters podcast, Godzilla just felt way too different from the character we saw in the 2014 film, and it didn't help that he was sporting a new look. And it looks like in this series we're going to see that transition between the 2014 design to the 2019 design. So I think it's going to be a much needed transition between the two, so that's going to be nice. What about you guys?
One thing I want to add real quick is I think David summarized it best for me whenever he said like how jarring King of the Monsters was from G 2014 is like the Godzilla from the 2014 film seemed like the old samurai who could kick your fucking ass.
Yeah.
And like in King of the Monsters he just seemed like a
totally different animal.
Yeah, like he was young and full of energy.
Yeah, he ran at Ghidorah thrice. He leaped out of the water like a spawning salmon to body check Ghidorah out of the air.
I can see where that's coming from. In my mind, I feel like the difference between them and those two movies. 'Cause I felt like, in Godzilla 2014, a big aspect of it was like the mystery, because like how long in that movie did we go before we actually saw like a full shot of Godzilla, like all of him? It was a while, right?
It was like 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was quite some time. And I guess like in King of the Monsters, what they kind of try to do is like, I guess in their head they said, well, bags, it's out the bag. Godzilla's there. People kind of understand he's a savior, others don't. So I imagine they probably were just a lot less shy showing him in action. But I guess they may have like done it a bit too much to the point where like that vibe wasn't just about the mystery. It was kind of like, I mean, the mystery kind of like helped build his character. And I guess they could have still kept some aspect of that if they kind of changed the choreography. Because to me, it's not something I really thought about, but I can definitely see what you guys mean, like watching it. So, yeah, that's like, I guess with the actually, real quick, in Godzilla vs Kong, how do you think about his portrayal between that and King of the Monsters?
It's
like,
more or less 1-to-1.
It
They
seems the
feel like the
same.
same. Yeah, they felt like the same character. It wasn't as drastic as 2014 to 2019.
Because Godzilla did charge at Mecha Godzilla almost verbatim the same way as in King of the Monsters to Ghidorah.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess like, well, based off that, I feel like the vibe of Godzilla is probably going to be the same going forward. Because even though we saw him in because I saw the behind the scenes, but I also saw like the first trailer and like that, and he shows up right at the end. I imagine for the Monarch show, actually, I don't even know if he's really going to be fighting like that in the Monarch show. I know he's going to be in it, but like I feel like if we see him fight again, and it'd probably have to be the same way we've seen him do it like in King of the Monsters.
Yeah, probably. I doubt we're going to see him fight the Mutos in San Francisco. I doubt we're going to get a different angle to that fight. It would be cool if we did, but yeah, I think this leads into another thing that I want to talk about. But before I get to that, Miles, you've been kind of silent for a bit. You all right there?
Yeah, man, I contributed 25%.
Sorry, I'm really tired.
Yeah, I kind of feel that. I feel that.
I also have only seen one trailer for Monarch.
That is A-okay. Was it the second one or the first one?
And was it a trailer or a teaser or the behind the scenes?
Definitely not behind the scenes. I don't know which one. One of the really early ones. I don't typically like watching too many trailers.
That is fair. That is fair.
Oh, bro, that's me in MCU movies, bro. I see the first trailer, and then I go fucking blank on social media. I can't, man. They be putting whole movies. If you ever seen the Batman v Superman trailer, the whole movie's in that trailer. Even the twist when what's his face shows up at the end. It's in the trailer. Like,
Oh yeah, Doomsday. Yeah.
yeah, Doomsday, and then Wonder Woman, and they up like we understand. Even in like Godzilla versus Kong, people knew okay, Godzilla and Kong are gonna fight, but they're gonna band together against some new enemy. Everyone kind of just like knew that, but they didn't show it in the friggin' trailer. In Batman v Superman, they actually show that, and then Wonder Woman's helping them, and you're all fighting together against Dooms. Like why? Why? But that's a rant about another series. But go on, Miles.
I don't know where I'm going on. I think it was the first one.
Yeah, I think it was. Now I think
There was
about
like
it.
4 frames of Godzilla in it
Yeah, where
Did you
he's
see Godzilla rise from the ground though?
from like a desert area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that one.
Oh, okay. So it's the new one. It's the second one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of Godzilla, that leads into another topic. You guys are familiar. We're gonna get more monsters, right? So,
What do you mean?
I certainly hope so.
yeah. So we.
Otherwise, it would just feel like kind of a cash grab if they only showed us pre-existing monsters.
Yeah. Like, here's the thing about Monarch Legacy of Monsters. When I initially heard about the series back in 2021, I think, it was like 3 years from today, I think. When I heard about what they were doing in the timeline it was taking place in, I initially thought, oh, so this is going to be more of a human drama, because we know from Godzilla King of the Monsters that nothing really happened between 2014 and 2019. And I know for me, I was really surprised when I started seeing, clips and TV spots. Okay, no, sorry, not clips and TV spots. That's being a little too generous. Clips, scenes, shots from in the trailers showing Godzilla during the Golden Gate Bridge attack, but also some new scenes of him doing some new stuff that we hadn't seen before. and then there being other monsters to come alongside him, probably. So yeah, that was really surprising for me. And, low key, I've also been seeing a lot of people going about how, oh, this series better have more than 5 minutes of Godzilla. Angry Joe, I'm looking at you. Like, it's so ironic. He's like, he posted a reaction. It's like, oh, this looks so good. I think out of everyone who's going to be watching this series, he's going to be the most disappointed, because I guarantee you Godzilla's not going to be in this series for the majority of it. It's going to be Monarch Legacy of Monsters featuring Godzilla.
I don't get Angry Joe's viewpoint there. I understand, if this is like the Monsterverse started off with Godzilla 2014, he's expecting Godzilla. But the thing is, like, Godzilla hasn't really been a big part of the marketing as far as I can see. Like, when I saw him in the trailer, I'm like, I didn't even know he was going to be in this, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, same.
Like,
when I initially heard about it. But then I started seeing clips, it's like, oh, I am genuinely surprised. Man, this was more than I initially expected.
So, Angry Joe, if you're watching this in some dystopian universe, chill. Relax a little bit.
Can I interject something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so, with Monarch Legacy of Monsters, just with the title alone, I think most people should get, even though they see Godzilla in the trailer, this is Monarch, the legacy of the monsters.
Yeah.
And with Angry Joe, I noticed too. Did y'all happen to see his trailer reaction he did for -1?
No, I have not.
So he also reacted to the trailer for that what was it called? It was Godzilla Fest 4 Operation Jet Jaguar. He reacted to that trailer too. He seemed way more hyped for the Godzilla vs. Jet Jaguar one than he did even for -1.
Huh. I've noticed that a bit as well. I'm noticing a lot of people being more excited for the smaller stuff rather than the full-length features, but you know what? Dumb do dumb, I guess.
Well, I do know that he's a big Jet Jaguar fan.
Yeah. Man, I never even knew he knew what Jet Jaguar was.
Every single Godzilla thing I've seen him do, he always references Jet Jaguar. He's like, when are they going to bring Jet Jaguar in the Monsterverse and all that?
I'm not going to jinx anything like I did Godzilla's Singular Point, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, back to my initial thing. So yeah, Legacy of Monsters, we're going to get a little bit of Godzilla. That's my prediction. But what I do want to talk about is some interviews with Matt Shackman. He's one of the head... he directed the first 2 episodes, and I think he also... I don't think he produced it, but I know he played a big part of it. And he mentioned Oh, sorry?
I was watching an interview with him too, and he said he was helping the development process of the series, at least with the characters.
Yeah,
and where they go.
Yeah, and what got me excited, this was like one of the earliest interviews that started talking about Monarch Legacy of Monsters. This was before we got any images, any trailers, but he said in an interview with Comic Books, hosted by Chris Killian, he said, and I quote, "We were creating a lot of cool titans and monsters, some new, some old." And...
Kong.
Whoa, wait. I don't know if they had the license to use Kong, but we do
Kong
see a bit
is
of
open domain.
Wait, what?
Does he actually?
Yeah, Kong is open domain. They just can't use the King Kong name.
Oh, right. Wait a minute. So wait, when you
All right,
say Kong...
I mean, it becomes open domain, what was it? Was it 50 years after the creator's death or something like that?
Oh,
it's
50...
100 years. It's 100 years. It has
after
to be 100 years after the original. It has to be at least 100 years since after the first release, because Superman is going to be open domain in in 2033, I think.
Ooh.
Oh. For
That's
anyone
nuts.
want to make a quick buck out of
years ago,
Superman, this is your chance.
You know how what's his name? I already forgot his name. It's a crazy long name, but the creator of King Kong, he actually lost the rights to King Kong, and then like he had like this whole court case where the name King Kong, like you cannot have the name King Kong unless you get the rights for it. But Kong itself, like the King Kong character Kong, he's open domain.
Okay, I guess. So the name is copyrighted, but not the character.
Exactly.
Oh,
Like the
damn.
name, like the title King Kong is copyrighted.
Oh god,
I see what you mean.
that's
And I guess the
so.
way with these, the ownership, it's kind of like with you guys probably heard about like how Winnie the Pooh entered open domain, but like the version of Winnie the Pooh we all know, that's still owned by Disney, whoever the freak.
Right.
But then you still have
Exactly.
different versions of him.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's so ironic because I remember Brian Duffield, who's one of the head creators of Skull Islands. There was a moment in the series where one of the characters saw something and everyone was saying, "Oh my god, it had to be Godzilla. Who else could it be?" But then the creator came out saying we couldn't use Godzilla. He was still being used under license. So it'd be ironic if the creators of Monarch Legacy of Monsters is like, "Hey, let's do it to him. Let's have Kong show up."
Yeah, man, anything's possible. Since you brought it up, I was looking into like the creation of King Kong and his ownerships, and apparently, at least since its inception, it was not owned by one specific person. So, like, I was looking into like like the legal battles here. I'm just like, oh my god, some of this copyright legal stuff is very complicated. But I feel like, regardless, people seem to have gone forward anyway. Like, I still find it crazy that like Marvel didn't have all the rights to Spider-Man for quite some time, but like even then, they seem to work it out. So I'm hopeful with the Monsterverse people they have to work everything out. But then also,
Well,
we can
shoot,
make a Kong movie in a few years. I mean, just Kong movie, but you know.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, Disney's actually making an animated Kong series too.
Oh, it's supposed to be animated? I thought it was going to be live action.
I thought it was animated.
Oh dear.
I can fact check that right now.
I know they're making a King Kong Kong series on Disney Plus, but I don't know if it's live action.
I think it might actually be called King Kong though.
Oh.
That's what I've been seeing though. I
Gutsy.
don't know how. It's so confusing. It is so confusing. I don't know fully how this stuff works, but I know with Legendary, whenever Thomas Tull moved Skull Island from Universal to Warner Brothers, they had to drop the King Kong title,
Right.
and they just dropped it to Kong Skull Island.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But I don't know how I don't know how Disney's able to call this new series just King Kong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Actually, I'm looking up on it. Well, this is just from a Deadline article, but it seems that like right now it's just called King Kong working title, so I don't think there's an official title just yet.
Yeah.
If they keep the king part of the Kong, that'd be something. And this one that says it seems that it's going to be live action series. But like,
it is live action?
I called it.
Just to interject, there is another King Kong show on Netflix, I think.
No, yeah, Skull
Oh,
Island.
yeah.
The animated
No,
series.
Kong, King of
Kong
Apes.
King
That's
of
Oh,
what they
right!
are.
King
Yeah.
of the Apes, what the fuck?
That one sucks ass.
I would imagine.
Oh, man. Oh, it must not be
I
good to be a
watched
Kong
that.
fan.
I actually watched that. It was so terrible.
I never even heard of this. What is this?
I've heard of it, I never bothered clicking on it.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm looking at this now. Like,
Very much a kid's show from
Oh,
looks of
yeah,
it.
no. Isn't it done by DreamWorks, actually?
No.
No.
I hope the frig not. I
Oh,
hope
God.
the frig not.
Hey,
Speaking-
didn't DreamWorks have a Fast and Furious show they developed though?
They also have a Jurassic Park series and another one that's coming out later next year. Yay.
It's crazy how
Yeah.
much I know about DreamWorks, but know so little about any of the shit you guys just said. And that says something about them, probably.
No, I think it's like a subsidiary company that makes these TV shows.
Alright, it's
I
under
will
DreamWorks.
say this new the new Jurassic World series has a little bit better animation than the last series.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, back on topic.
You're right. We're
So-
talking about freaking Godzilla, not freaking King Kong.
No, we're talking
I
about
blame
Monarch
Angry
Legacy
Joe.
of Monsters
Eh.
featuring Godzilla.
That's true. Oh, actually, while we're back on the topic, I was talking about the ages of some of these people, and I felt like maybe they don't necessarily age well because I thought they're on the younger side. I was completely wrong. The Asian chick's like 31, the black chick's like already 29. I felt like if you just wait like a year, film them, and then just say it's been 8-9 years, like yeah, they could probably make them look older.
Yeah.
It would be too much of a stretch since they're not dealing with teenagers. But how that's going to be for what's her name, Gia? We'll have to see. We'll
Yeah.
have to see.
Anyways, I found
We'll
a
have to
synopsis for
see.
the series, so if anything comes up, let me know. But let me just go through this to give you guys an idea of what... For now, I just want to get through the synopsis of Legacy of Monsters so we know what we're talking about a bit.
Yes, go on.
To expect in Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Ready?
Ready?
Go ninja, go ninja, go.
I love all of your answers. Anyways. Alright, so... premise is, following the epic battle between Godzilla and the Mutos that leveled San Francisco in Godzilla 2014, and the shocking revelation that monsters are real, two siblings, following their father's footsteps, uncover their family connection to the secretive organization known as Monarch. Clues lead them into the world of monsters and ultimately down the rabbit hole to Army Officer Lee Shaw. Taking place in the 1950s and half a century later, where Monarch is threatened by what Shaw knows. The dramatic saga spanning 3 generations revealed buried secrets and the ways that epic, earth-shattering events can reverberate through our lives. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Alright, so right off the bat, I made a note of this because I have to talk about it. Lee, in the King of the Monsters podcast, you remember how you mistook, what was his name again? Mark Russell's character for Kurt Russell?
Yes.
So,
Mostly that I mistake them. I don't remember who was who originally.
yeah, and then we corrected you. And then it was announced, as soon as the series was announced, and castings were coming out, it was revealed that Kurt Russell would make an appearance in this series. And not only that, but he's more or less named after you. His name is Lee Shaw, his character.
Oh yes,
So
Lee,
I-
the best character in the MonsterVerse, of course.
So I have this insane headcanon where they're coming up with ideas for the show, and one of the guys in the table is like listening to our crappy old podcast on King of the Monsters, and he's like listening to you, and there's the head of the table is like, Jimmy, do you have any ideas? And he's like, we should hire Kurt Russell. Excellent. What should we name him? Lee. Just skips through the pages of the Godzilla Awakening comic. Lee Shaw. Excellent, Jimmy.
I would like that.
Excellent.
They name him Lee just to please me a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd say I don't like ass kissers, so I have to lower the score when we do the review. But yeah, we did something. I was surprised. I mean, to be honest, I find it because I saw the behind the scenes that I do find it very convenient that you have a father-son duo who are both into acting and also both big in their own rights, but just playing the same characters in different time periods, which is interesting because usually you'll just find someone who looks like you, or they'll just CG him. But
Yeah.
no, I'm pretty interested by that.
I would like to, I know this is a long shot, but I would love to ask him, who had more influence over the character of Lee Shaw? Was it Kurt or was it Wyatt? Like, who decided what to go on with the character, and whether there was ever really creative differences between the two. But it looks like all the actors were having fun on set, at least. So that's nice.
It'd also be hilarious if, let's say they were beefing about how Kurt should be played in some aspect, but because they're playing the same character, from my understanding, they don't necessarily have to be in any actual scene together because they can't really act at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe they'll do a thing where like we'll be like, oh, this is here I was
Yeah, I
10
know,
years
but
ago and something like that. But I feel like it'll be funny if they're both playing the character entirely different because they couldn't come to agree. And
yeah.
us as the audience, when you watch this, like, wow, you changed so much in the 30 years since this happened. I'm like, oh yes, I guess I would. It's like you're a completely different character. That is something you could say, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, it's like another thing about Lee Shaw that I think is really interesting. Nathan, Miles, feel free to jump in at any moment. He's actually
I'll think about it.
he's actually a character that showed up in the Godzilla Awakening comic. There is a U.S. officer by the name of Shaw who was investigating the Mutos, in this case the Shinamuras in the comic, and their boat was ultimately taken care of by the Shinamura, and Serizawa's father, the same Serizawa we saw in Godzilla 2014, his father went to help Shaw's men. So, yeah. It's kind of nice that we're finally getting some form of acknowledgement of the comics, but at the same time, it's been stated that the comics were based on lightly when it came to figuring out some of the major events in the series. So, yeah, I'm not really holding my breath on that.
I mean, I don't want too much time to come. And to be honest, I don't mind if like so much of it is based on the comics, but like as someone who's never gotten into Kingdom Hearts, but every time I talk to someone about Kingdom Hearts, it's like there was so many different and I'll make this quick because this is technically about gaming, but it ties into lore.
Yep.
Because obviously Kingdom Hearts, for the main series stuff, it wasn't on every platform. Some of it was like exclusive to the 3DS, or some of it was to like PlayStation mostly. But they also had like lore that was relevant to the mobile version of the game, which I think some of it was only in Japan. So when the Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, a lot of people were confused as to the lore because not everyone had gone through all the media. And I feel like for the comics and basing a lot of stuff in the movies we see off of comics, I do like that a lot. But the thing is, like, I just hope it only goes one way. Like, I hope that like I can watch the movies and enjoy them, even if they're referencing the comics or like based off comics to some extent. But I don't want to have to read the comics, or at least a lot of the comics, to understand the movies. Like, if it's
No,
like a
yeah,
one-time thing.
I agree with that. Yeah. The comics more serve as flavoring or DLC, more or less. It's kind of optional.
Okay, that's reasonable because I can imagine. Actually, no. Just to be negative, I can imagine a scenario where like, yeah, it's kind of optional. It doesn't matter much. It's fine. And then 5, 6 years later, some character is going to pop out and they'll be like, "Who are you?" And I'm insert these characters here, and you're gonna be freaking out like, "Oh my God, Lee, it's him!" What do you mean him? He's from the comics. He was the main bad guy of the second issue. I'm like, how the fuck was I supposed to know that? Like,
No, I totally agree.
all right, let's take a stop right there. Just based off of the premise, what comes to mind?
Like right off the bat, they mentioned the 1950s, and first thing that comes to mind for me is the opening in Godzilla 2014, which a lot of things I need to talk about that too. Oh boy, like when we initially tried to do this podcast, I was doing some research. I was reading like the Godzilla Awakening graphic novel, and you know what? I might as well talk about it now. It's kind of weird with the comics when it comes to the Monsterverse, because there was a time when so much happened in them that contradict the movies that it's like, oh, there's no way these two take place in the same universe. But then you have some of the writers and producers that are like, no, the comics are indeed canon. It's like, okay, we'll go by your word. And then we have this series, which is probably the closest we'll get to the motion pictures acknowledging the comics. And the one of the head directors of it, I think his name is Mac Shackman. He says like, yeah, we kind of took some things from the comics, but we're mainly focusing on the film continuity. So that sounds like they're ignoring the continuity of the comics. But then I read the comics again. It's like, wait a minute, this can actually work in the universe. What the hell is this? So, yeah, I think there's that. When it comes
I
to
have a question.
Yes. Nathan? Nathan? Snake?
Well, he said he had a question, but for now, while he thinks about that because he disappeared, I'll say what I kind of thought to my own. I thought of the premise a lot. I'm not real quite familiar with well, actually, I guess with the Kong movie, the idea of like, okay, this is going to take place, what was it, 30, 40 years in the past, and the next movie it was more current time. The idea that like they're doing this generational, I find kind of interesting. Not because I haven't seen that concept before, because I haven't really seen the idea of it within any Godzilla type of franchise. So I'm curious. I'm hoping they do some good stuff with that. Or I'm more so, let's say, I'm curious to see what they're doing with that, because I felt like I don't know. I feel like maybe it could have just been that it takes place in current time, and then maybe they just have a few flashbacks to the past. But the way they're described makes it sound like there's going to be a lot happening in the past and in current time. So literally, yeah. So that's the vibe I got from it.
Yeah. So like, going off of that, the character that they mentioned, Lee Shaw, who's played by both Kurt and Wyatt Russell, the father-son duo playing the same character. You see some clips in the trailers, and there's a lot with Wyatt Russell, so I wouldn't be surprised if half this series... the total runtime, by the way, I'm not saying half the episodes are going to take place in the past and the other half will take place in the present time. But I do feel like half the runtime of this series will definitely dedicate to the past during the 50s, and then the other half will take place in the modern time, like between 2014 and 2015.
Actually, I wouldn't say like I feel like definitely I think it'd probably be like rather a complete 50-50 or like something that's like maybe like a 40-45% because there's gonna be like a little bit of crossover. But something I'm curious about is because by the end of it, do you think we're gonna end in current day or end in the past? Because I think the common assumption would be that like okay, it'll run along each other, but then like they're gonna discover something about the past and then apply it to current day, and that will be it. But wouldn't it be interesting?
I have a theory about that actually. I think the series is going to end leading into the next film, that being Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. And it could be anything to like, Monarch is like doing Hollow Earth scans and they find a chamber in the Hollow Earth, and that's going to lead to King Louie that we see in the preview for that.
We say King Louie?
Oh wait, have you
be like you?
Oh wait, have you not seen the preview for that?
I don't think I have. Also, I typed in King Louie and I found a Jungle Book character. Is that a nickname you've given him?
Nickname everyone's given him.
Yeah, it was
that or Lanky Kong.
Yeah, Lanky Kong.
Ooh, I like
Kong.
that. I like that.
Who else?
Right. So I guess so I assume it's got to be one of Kong's species, but it's not Kong.
Emperor Kong. He's like an orangutan.
Yeah, here, check this.
Probably like a subspecies, if I had to guess.
I don't think it's...
Oh, this! Yeah, I remember this. This was hard.
Yeah.
So I was talking about the Godzilla song, the title of it. I forgot about this. This was hard, I remember this.
He's either like emancipated or a subspecies.
I think he's a completely different species, honestly. There's a lot of clues to suggest that he's...
Be like a... Isn't he supposed to be an orangutan, like how Kong is to a gorilla?
No, that's what I was thinking. Kong is the Titan equivalent of gorillas, and I think this is the Titan equivalent of chimpanzee. No, not chimpanzees, orangutans. So
it's scary, bro. Cause he's orangutan's got those long limbs, but bro, this is the way he's like sitting in that almost throne-ish like chair. It's crazy, bro. He looks evil as hell.
Yeah,
like truly.
And then you have like those glowing eyes, which only Godzilla has. Which does he have the same Hollow Earth powers as Godzilla? Are we about to see this monkey breathe atomic breath? Ooh.
His teeth light up and then he just shoots atomic breath.
Whoa, hey. That'd be insane, actually. Just one of these Godzilla iterations, just glowing blue teeth and then just shoot. Alright, so I made a note. Oh, that was just
did you see that? Did you see that one Goji Center video with him? And it's like implied that he shoots atomic breath out of his dick.
What?
Who shoots atomic breath out of their dick?
Apparently the orangutan.
Have we seen more of this orangutan past this 35-second reveal?
No.
Then this theory means nothing to me. Even if
Miles,
it's right, I'm gonna be like, I don't care. It means nothing to me, even if it ends up being right.
Miles, atomic breath penis. What are your thoughts?
No.
Wouldn't that be more of an atomic? Wouldn't that be more of an atomic queef?
No. Anyways, there's something I do want to jump
What
back
if it's
to.
a female?
They already confirmed it's male.
That sucks.
Yeah. Hashtag more Titan
could've-
representation.
Hey man, we had that one chick who turned into. How'd she die again in that movie?
Oh, Mothra?
Violante?
Yeah. Like what happened? I feel like Godzilla absorbed her or some shit. I don't remember what happened specifically.
Oh, Mothra. Yeah, she got lasered to death by King Ghidorah.
That's
Yeah,
not lasers. That,
Anyways,
You're trying to figure out what it was because it's not lasers that and everything. Like, oh shit, what is that? You're just thinking.
anyways, moving on. I think the one thing I want to start off with Legacy of Monsters is this one comment from Matt Shackman, who's again one of the directors of the series. He directed 2 out of the 10 episodes. He said in an interview with Comic Book hosted by Chris Killian, we were creating a lot of cool titans and monsters. Some new, some old. Ooh. Okay, so for me, this means one of two things. And I think for a lot of people, they're thinking of the one thing. And that is,
I
we
think
might
it's-
be getting Toho original monsters coming into the series.
nah,
I don't...
I
yeah,
doubt it.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not going to be the case.
Wait,
I
hold on.
think-
Well, when you say Toho original monsters, do you mean monsters that are going to be invented for the series going forward, or Toho monsters that already exist?
Toho monsters that already exist.
Oh.
Yeah, so
You're saying-
I don't see it happening.
yeah, no,
he never.
same.
meant- I think it's just gonna be we're gonna see a quick clip of Kong, and then maybe a reference to Outpost 33 or something
When he
like
said some new, some old, we already seen some of the new ones. There's a fifth one that I'll talk about in a bit. But when he said some of the old ones, like, yeah, initially I was like, oh, we're gonna see some Toho original monsters. But as time went on and I started to remember things, it's like, we'll probably see some of the Titans that we've seen throughout the Monsterverse. So, you know, the flying snakes from Godzilla vs. Kong, the Nazukis, maybe Hellhawks or Warbats. Wait a minute. Muto, Skullcrawlers. We already seen the Mother Longlegs again in the trailer, so it's like, yeah, we're probably gonna be... He probably meant by that the old Monsterverse monsters. And who knows, we might see like Scylla, Behemoth, Methuselah, maybe even some of the 17 Titans that we haven't seen from King of the Monsters, like Mokela Membe or Yamato no Ryochi. So yeah.
Baphomet.
But with that said, a lot of the trailers and clips that we have seen from Legacy of Monsters did showcase some of these monsters. So we have a giant tentacled face looking mole creature that freezes things. Some giant fish bat that kind of looks like Narjakuga from Monster X Hunter. Some crab that protects John Goodman.
That's a good
Monster X Hunter? You mean Monster Hunter?
Yeah, Monster Hunter.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Hit anime Monster X Hunter.
Oh no.
I feel like, actually, guys, out of curiosity, how do you feel if we're watching the Monarch series in the final episode, Nergigante from Monster Hunter, who comes in? Like, how do you feel about it?
Nergigante?
You never heard about that? Nergigante.
Miles, you go.
What?
Nergigante.
Okay, here's the scenario. We're watching the Monarch series, in the final episode, Nergigante from the Monster Hunter series comes in there. How do you feel about that?
That'd be pretty hype.
Okay, then. Because I know some people like to be curious about this thing, and I know like the idea of the Toho original monsters coming in seems unlikely, but I thought like, would you be like, damn, that's actually exciting, or be like, what kind of corporate greed bullshit is this? Because I'd be confused. I'd be like, what the hell? What the hell? I'd be a bit excited, but I'd still mostly be like, what the hell?
The MonsterVerse and Monster Hunter take place in the same cinematic universe. Let's go.
Oh, good. I think as we are talking about this, I want to say because the MonsterVerse isn't that big. Because how many films are even in MonsterVerse right now?
If we're
Is it
counting
seven?
More?
Actually,
Okay,
yeah, it's
4 to
like
5.
five
I think-
films if you count Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire and 2 TV series, Skull's Island, the animated series, and
Okay, I see.
Monarch: Legacy of Monsters.
I see. See, right, I think it's very tame. It's good, but not to get into the whole MCU thing falling apart right now again. But I'm thinking to myself, damn, bro, I really can't be bothered to watch a lot of this. And I think right now the MonsterVerse is still like a whiles away from being close to that level.
Yeah.
Actually, I argue it's a lot better because like a lot of the central figures in these series are the monsters themselves. So a lot of the individual character drama doesn't matter much as a connection to like individual movies. So I do feel good about that going forward. But like the idea of like let's further expanding the cinematic universe, that those talks are just gonna scar me for a while because I'm so traumatized by the MCU.
Yeah, I
But
definitely
I do like
say.
what MonsterVerse is doing.
Yeah, I definitely say where the MonsterVerse is now, and I think how they're handling things. Like, I gotta emphasize this small time space between mid 2023 to mid 2024 is probably going to be the most eventful few months that MonsterVerse fans will have. In that time slot, you have 3 releases. You have the Skull Island animated series, you have Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, and then you have Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. And then that's it. That's all we get within, I think, what is that? Almost 6-12 months, give or take?
Okay, but hear me out. What if at Comic-Con in 2024, they announced that they've been secretly working on like a Mothra solo movie? It's gonna flop. It's gonna flop in the theater.
I doubt they'll do that. Hell, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't take such a risk like that. Yeah, I think in terms of where they are now, the monsters are still kind of new. I
I have to disagree because when Godzilla X Kong comes out, that's going to be the 10th year anniversary. And then within, let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, within 4 years, we had Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and the Avengers.
You know what? True.
Actually, quick note about that since we were talking about the strike. Due to the writers and the actors striking for so long, Marvel is actually going to have a very dry 2024. Only Marvel products are coming out in The only Marvel movie coming out in 2024 is Deadpool 3, and the only 2 TV shows are Echo and Agatha Darkhold Diaries. Why did anyone want that show? But anyway, yeah. But you know what? Maybe the MonsterVerse people are, if they are a little bit quick on the writing, they can get some stuff out there in 2024 while Marvel's on the weaker side start to dominate, get some new fans.
Yeah, and
I just hope that the MonsterVerse doesn't go down the
hold on.
Sorry, that just surprised me. I just hope the MonsterVerse doesn't overinflate too much. Like, man, what was that one year where felt like almost continuously we were getting nothing but Marvel shows from Disney Plus?
That's probably
The last 2?
Wait, what?
The last 2 years, I felt like it's just constantly new Marvel shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they just kept pumping us with content, and you know.
Oh yeah, I think very specifically it was 2021 because like that's like when they had, what was it? Oh yeah, it was literally like 11 months, and there was like a new Marvel show sorry, not new Marvel show. There's a new episode of Marvel every episode. It's WandaVision, then Falcon, then Loki, and it's like, and they aired them to answer pretty much when one show would end, a week would pass, and then they'd start airing the other show.
Begin. Yeah.
Yeah, and look at this chart. They literally went on till end of November, and it started January 15th with WandaVision's first episode. So that was 9 months of continuous Marvel, almost every single week.
Yeah, which brings me to the MonsterVerse, where I like how they're quite sparse with their content. Like, again, we're coming up on the 10th year anniversary, and we only have 5 films and 2 shows within those 10 years.
Yeah, there's 7 projects.
Can I just say real quick? Without a doubt, I really do feel like Godzilla X Kong is gonna dominate next year
I hope it
in the
does.
box office.
Yeah.
I really do think it's gonna dominate in the box office because it literally has no competition.
Let's not forget that Godzilla vs. Kong also kind of saved theaters during one of the what was it, like worst year? No, not worst years of the pandemic. It was definitely a bad year
During
of
the
pandemic.
it was still during the pandemic.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. It
And
was 2021 though, second year pandemic though, so it wasn't as bad, I guess.
Yeah, but things were still.
but
close.
it was simultaneously released on HBO Max, and like a lot of other movies that were simultaneously released like that did not do good at all.
Yeah.
Like Suicide Squad, it came out months later, and even though it was critically well received and got a lot of good word of mouth,
It made
It
with
didn't
so
go
much
anywhere.
less. What I find funny is that the Suicide Squad made so much less money than the Suicide Squad movie before it, and people don't even like that freaking movie. But like that movie blew them out of the water with all the money they made, bro. Which is unfortunate because I'm looking at what's the word, Godzilla versus Kong, 2021 release, had about a budget from 150 to 200 million, box office 470 million, and I think that's good. That's not bad, but like it wasn't for the pandemic. I think you could do more. What I wonder is, actually, real quick, I can ask you guys, what's the public reception to the Godzilla vs Kong movie, the one that's out?
A lot of people liked it. A
Alright.
lot of
Yeah.
I think a lot of the Godzilla fans were kind of mixed on it, but the general public, the general consensus was it was pretty good.
That's it. Because I'm a little bit. Well, I feel I'm a bit mixed on, but lean a bit more towards negative because I'm. Without getting into that whole review, it's just that like there's so much of the human aspect of that I did not like. Everything involving Millie Bobby Brown and her friends in that movie, I was dying on screen every time they were there. I
You know
thought
what?
that was
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was wondering if that made this movie because I think Godzilla vs Kong. Cause I know you guys think it can do very well, especially with I mean, not Godzilla vs. Godzilla X Kong. I think you guys think it can do very well, and I think it has the potential. But I feel like if the movie comes out and for whatever reason isn't good, I think it's just gonna die. Like I feel like it has to be good, and people say it's good to watch it. Which I know what you're thinking is that most movies, but I truly think there's some movies that are just popular enough that even if they suck, they'll make profit. Like the weaker like MCU movies.
Yeah.
Like they'll make profit. They'll do hundreds of millions even if people don't think they're good. But I think for the Godzilla, I'm not sure if it's at that level of success, at least in like the Western box office, to like be like a huge hit.
I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
I just hope that New Villains is crazy evil. Like I know it sounds dumb, but like if he talked, that'd be crazy. That'd be stupid. But if he did, I'd be like, oh my god, he's so evil. He talks.
I
Because
mean-
like he doesn't look like a monster. He looks like a human the way he's on that throne. And I know like
Yeah.
people like to I think when we watched the Ghidorah in that Godzilla movie, I was told that I think you were telling me that like how each of his heads have like
A
different
different
personalities and all this shit. And in my head, I'm like, nah, they look like dragon heads to me. But this guy, I can see by the way he's moving. He's sinister. He's human in nature. So if he talk, that'd be stupid. But maybe he has telepathy, and he talks to that one girl who can talk to Kong. I don't know. I'm just I just have high hopes for him specifically.
He starts signing and he starts doing sign language too,
Just
but
fucking
it's
sign language.
but it's
Oh my
evil
God.
sign language.
His sign language is he gives Kong the finger.
Yeah.
Universal, baby.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, we should get back to Monarch, but real quick, what I want to end the Godzilla X Kong thing was, do you think there's a possibility either of them could die in this movie? And not like how Godzilla died for a little bit and came back at the end of that movie a few years back. Do you think like?
And even that was kind of arguable if he died or not.
Yeah, I mean, we know he wasn't dead. He was just kind of like out for the time being. But
Yeah,
like,
in regen
do you-
mode.
I don't think they kill Godzilla, but do you think they could kill Kong?
I don't. I
I don't
think
think they would, just because Kong's the only one they're allowed to use without paying money.
Yeah, it's also like MonsterVerse compared to like the other universes, MCU and DCEU. It's still pretty young. Yeah, I think they're both gonna live. Godzilla can't die because he's contractually obligated to not die.
Wait, you're serious?
I gotta disagree with those contractual obligations because Godzilla was said not to be able to emote, but we literally see him laugh.
Ah, You can stretch with that. You could take a stretch with that.
I don't know. That seems pretty solid to me. He's laughing. I don't know.
But
I
yeah.
mean, that's something. I felt like actually in the lore of this history of Godzilla, has there ever been a second Godzilla? And what I mean by that is not a mecha Godzilla, a being that people also identify is Godzilla. Like
Yeah,
perhaps
like a
Godzuki,
son?
not Godzuki, like a baby Godzilla.
Yeah, wait, Lee, are you talking about like a son or another member of the species?
Like, I
actually,
think
yeah.
the
I mean, if people call that Godzilla as well, then sure.
Wait, sorry, repeat that.
I think the closest.
Sorry,
I
Lee.
think the closest we have.
Someone talk, Lee. Like, Lee, can you specify what you meant,
Well,
please? I just
Okay,
need to know.
well, to put it like this, what's the word? Because obviously, there's the different monsters, but Godzilla is the people know him as a specific monster. When I say like another Godzilla, I don't necessarily mean someone who's just of his race. I mean someone who people also call Godzilla in the world.
I guess Godzilla Jr.? But
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
yeah, but I guess arguably in the Showa era, there were technically two Godzillas. The first one appeared in 1954, then gets killed by Dr. Zerazawa with the oxygen destroyer, and then the second Godzilla shows up in Godzilla Raids again, finding Anguirus. So yeah, I guess that could also be the case, maybe.
I know. Sorry, I'm just thinking about that specifically.
That they're two separate Godzillas.
Yeah.
Because that ghost of the first Godzilla will then later become Kiryu.
Oh yeah, true. Different
The ghost of the
continuity.
first Godzilla will become the first Godzilla is a
Mega
bad
Godzilla 3.
Don't worry about it, Lee. We'll talk about it later.
guy. Of course. All right, thank you on that. All right, let's head back to Monarch. Let's talk about some things we want to see from the show, starting with Miles.
I want Behemoth.
Yeah, I want
I want him.
Yeah, I feel like when oh man, what was his name again? When Matt Shackman was saying we'll see cool titans and monsters, some new, some old. I think what he meant by the old ones are monsters that we already seen before. So Behemoth, Methuselah, Scylla, Skull Crawlers. We already saw the Mother Longlegs. However, we do see some new monsters. We have the tentacled face armadillo-looking thing in Alaska that freezes people. Titanus narjacuga, who's a batfish. A giant crab-looking thing that protects John Goodman. Power plant bugs that hatch from eggs that look like Muto eggs. And recently, today, before we started this podcast, a new ad for for Monarch Legacy of Monsters came out, and at the end of that ad, revealed what looked like a giant worm, possibly, with a lot of teeth and horns. So that's some of the new creatures, and in terms of returning monsters, we got Godzilla, we got the Mother Longlegs, and I'm gonna just take a swing for the fences. I think we might see Kong, probably in a screen though, or mentioned by name.
What I can? Oh, you mean the Kong, not like a member of the species? Him?
Yeah, like the Kong, the one that resides on Skull Island, the one that ends up punching Godzilla in the face on an aircraft carrier.
Okay, and you see him. You assume we're gonna be seeing him in modern time?
In Monarch Legacy of Monsters, I think either.
No, I mean like in the modern time in Monarch. Because I know it's a few years in the back, but I mean like not in the past. Because remind me, between Skull Island and Godzilla vs Kong, where was he again?
Oh dear.
Or do we know where Kong was even?
Kong was always on Skull Island up until
he was just chilling.
Until Godzilla vs Kong. Yeah. So.
Okay. So I think we'll see him, but you don't think he'll necessarily be like story relevant like that, or do you think it's possible?
Yeah, because like right off the bat, we do know there's going to be a sequence on Skull Island based on clips that we've seen, but I think that's going to play a very, very, very tiny part in the entire series. I think it's just going to be one sequence, and then we're done. We're moving on to the main story, which is characters dealing with Godzilla. And also, like, I think if we are going to see Kong, it's probably going to be in the present, because the other story taking place in the past, that's like during the 50s. Monarch wouldn't know about Kong until 1973. So, yeah, it's like a lot of things I need to remember. Like, one time I was trying to make sense of John Goodman's character appearing, and then I kept forgetting he died in his respected movie, and it's like, well, gotta go back to the board and figure out where he is. Speaking of characters, you know what? I made a note of this. I want to do it again. So, Lee, remember when you predicted Kurt Russell to show up in the Monsterverse?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, we have another podcast here on the channel where we cover Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Lee mistook one of the characters in that movie, whose name was Mark Russell, and called him Kurt Russell. But then...
And he just ran with it.
No, we corrected him. And then, later on when the show was announced, it was confirmed that Kurt Russell would appear in the series. I was like, huh. Lee, you predicted it. And wouldn't you know, the character's name, played by Kurt Russell, is Lee Shaw. Congratulations, Lee, you made it.
I've made it because it's like that thing of what's that one anime, Eminence or Essence of Shadow? It's like the main character, even when he's wrong, he's still right somehow.
Yeah.
He says, yes, they're hiding in the forest. He doesn't know that, but he goes to the forest and they're there. Like I said, yeah, it's Kurt Russell. Yeah, he's not in it. Yes, he is. He just wasn't in it when I said it. So I feel good about that. It's a little bit of lore for you watching the channel.
You got like the writer's table trying to figure out, what characters they're going to bring to this show. They listen to our podcast. It's like, okay, let's hire Kurt Russell, and we'll name him after this guy, this Lee character. And for last name, we'll go with Shaw. Speaking... So yeah, it's like... Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I think one of the cooler things about Lee Shaw is the fact that he's actually probably the closest we'll ever get to the comics becoming concrete in the greater continuity of the Monsterverse, because as I explained before, the continuity with the comics is kind of wishy-washy, timey-wimey, a little bit loosey spaghetti, all that. But with Lee Shaw showing up, because his character does appear in Godzilla Awakening, there's a little bit more concrete evidence that continuity might be true.
Wait, hold on. Godzilla Awakening, that's named the comic?
Yeah, Godzilla Awakening is the comic. Same with Aftershock, Dominion. I'm not going to start listing comics because that's just going to become way too confusing. But yeah, Lee Shaw first showed up in the comics. And, yeah. Also, I've also been seeing online that because this series is taking place in a time where another prevalent point in Godzilla's history happens, him changing his dorsal plates. A lot of people were wondering if we're going to see, like, monsters like the Muto Prime, or see fights between him and the Muto Prime, Godzilla fighting against it, and, getting his spine shattered, and then they just start changing. Thanks, guys.
Spine shattered. So I'm just trying to imagine that sounds so violent just the way you put it. And his spine was shattered.
I mean, it was violent.
It really was.
The giant Muto just screamed his spines into dust.
Ew, that's a lot less violent than I thought. But so I said because I've seen this is sound weird, but it was a show where this dude, he ripped out this kid's spine because he had like he had like a metallic spine because he was crippled, and the guy just ripped it out of his back, and then just threw the kid on the ground. And he couldn't move because he got his spine ripped out. And there's just this gap in his back that was just bloody because he ripped it out of him. And I'm like, damn, that's what I
watching.
It was Black Lightning. It didn't even make any sense. That's not a dark show like that. I'm like, what?
Why?
It's pretty much like it's like the Flash show. It's not that dark. But then they did that. I'm like, oh my god, who approved this? So whenever I hear spines, I think of violence like that. But actually, I want to ask. The group is essentially like, what do you guys think Monarch is going to do for essentially the Monsterverse, or if anything at all? Because obviously, it's cinematic universe, so everything is connected. But the thing is, not every event in that universe changes other things in that universe, to put it like that. And I feel like the way Monarch, at least from what I think is implied to do, I think it should be. It's going to set up a lot of lore, but I'm not sure if it's actually going to set up any future conflict or change any actual future about the Monarch organization in the world. So, do you guys think have any thoughts on what the future of the Monsterverse is going to be after the show?
I don't think it's gonna hit it. I feel like this show's more of an excuse to showcase some of the monsters that they've already like teased or shown off.
Mm,
I don't think we're going to be getting anything like world shattering out of it.
that's
Yeah,
fair. That's fair.
it does take place in a what is supposed to be a very lax time in the MonsterVerse timeline, only for this series to come out as like, oh no, things did happen between 2014 and 2019, which again is like when this series was first announced and they showed off that when it was taking place, I was like, oh, so this is going to be more of a human drama. And then the trailer started coming out. We started seeing like Godzilla and other monsters, and I was genuinely surprised by that. I thought that we weren't going to see any of that, but I was wrong. So it's a welcoming surprise. But yeah, in terms of this series potentially uh, changing the very fabric of the world of the MonsterVerse, I don't think so.
Yeah, that was my that's the vibe I got as well. Except like at first I thought it could have, ignoring the fact that it's very heavily about the past. But I didn't even realize in the modern time, this is still some years before Godzilla versus Kong, right?
Oh yeah, it's like quite a while because this series is supposed to take place in 2015. Godzilla versus Kong takes place in like 2025, so almost 10
Yeah,
years.
yeah, and that kind of disappoints me a bit because I mentioned how like the MCU falls off a bit because they've made a lot of that franchise build off of their characters, and like as time goes on and characters and actors leave, what you have left. And the song part of MonsterVerse is that this is a lot of it is about the monsters and the humans are interchangeable. But I was hoping or thinking that the Monarch series, I thought this was going to be a good reason to introduce a number of characters, and that some of them are going to show up in the what's the word in the new Godzilla Kong film. But the thing, and not to say, and I think probably a few, maybe one or two, like a few of them might show up in them, but I feel like maybe not have big roles because
Yeah, like
because even though we talk about like they're not teenagers and stuff, it's like the main Asian on there. She's like 30, playing whoever knows how age, and think you're 10 years from now, but filming in that same year and her looking exactly the same, just gonna be us. I feel like there's not a big plan for most of these characters that are showing up in the show.
yeah, it's like I got a couple of things about that. It's like as much as I would love to see characters from this series be in like Godzilla X Kong, and same thing with the characters in the animated Skull Island show. I wouldn't mind seeing them again. The problem is those three projects were kind of announced near the same time. So when they were in production, they probably rarely talked to each other when they're developing. And, I think that's just kind of the tragedy of it. But at the same time, it's like these nice little self-contained projects where they could do their own thing. But at the same time, you don't have that connectivity that you get with the MCU. Which, it would be nice if we got a little bit more connective tissue between the films and these series.
Yeah, I think so as well. I don't think we need like a large amounts of it, but it's like a bit more cohesiveness. I think would
Yeah.
be appreciated.
But, I'd definitely say if they do plan on making more stuff after these series and movie come out, there's definitely a lot more room to have them start interconnecting with each other. But yeah, like,
Mm.
and also I will add one thing to what you said, Lee. One interesting thing that I noticed in the trailers is that some characters would say, "What's Monarch?" And then that just had me realize something, because I was always under the impression that after Godzilla 2014 happened, Monarch just came out and it's like, "Oh, you got us. That's right. We've been hiding the monsters for over 50 years under your noses." But no, apparently that might not be the case. It might be a case of Monarch remained silent, remained underground, unknown to the public, up until 2015. So that kind of raises the question, if they weren't known by 2015, what ended up revealing them? And maybe that's what this series is going to talk about.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because I
I
think you talked before about how there was a gap where it's like people did not know them, but then at some point they do know them, but we don't know what that is
Yeah,
that
I
revealed them.
feel like it's gonna lead up to the point at I mean obviously it'll probably set up for GXK, but I feel like the show itself is gonna lead up to the point of the congressional hearings that we saw at the beginning of King of the
yeah,
Monsters.
yeah,
That would make sense.
yeah. It would be cool if this does end off at some project, whether it be Godzilla X Kong, which that's probably going to be the case. But it would also be cool if we got some teases to some of the movies that have already released, like Godzilla vs. Kong. Maybe we'll see like Apex doing their thing, or Godzilla King of the Monsters. Maybe we'll hear something about, rumblings in Antarctica. We're setting up a new containment for a certain somebody with 3 heads.
The devil has 3 heads.
Yeah, boy.
God, I want that man to come back. He's
Yeah.
not a man, but you get the idea.
I have a good feeling too that in the show we might get something like that, but I don't expect anything more than like we found something in Antarctica.
Yeah.
We're setting up Outpost 33.
Yeah. You know what? Just to, I feel like there's a little bit of confusion in terms of where the series is going to take place. So I'm just going to clear up the air a bit. So the flashbacks in the 50s, they're going to take place sometime in 1954. This is confirmed through the fact that we see Godzilla getting another bomb in the face. Got a lot to talk about that. So I feel like the
Oh, that's
flashbacks...
a completely different bomb? I thought that was the beginning of 2014.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to talk about that in a bit. And then in terms of the present day stuff, that's going to take place mainly in 2015. We might get some flashbacks to 2014, but the main story in terms of like the present day events is going to be 2015. Now, Nathan, to talk about your thing. So, been seeing a lot of chatter online about how continuity is kind of broken because apparently in the in the series we're going to see Godzilla getting nuked again. We see him coming up on a little island with a very recognizable bomb with a with a recognizable emblem on it, and a lot of people automatically think that this is going to be the Castle Bravo test from Godzilla 2014. However, there's something I feel like a lot of people are missing, and that is whenever the characters from Godzilla 2014 or
Those
Kong Skull
nuclear
Island...
tests in the 50s, they
Yeah,
weren't just tests.
Yeah, when they were
They were
talking about...
trying to kill it.
When they were talking about the nuclear tests that they were trying to kill Godzilla with, they referred to them as tests, plural, as in more than one. And, they refer to them as the Castle Bravo tests, or more specifically, Operation Castle. So, here's my crackpot theory, and this is going to go back to the comics too. I think all the interpretations of the Castle Bravo test are canon. And what I mean by that is I think every version that we see of it, Godzilla Awakening, Godzilla 2014, and Monarch Legacy of Monsters, it's its own nuclear test. And some people are probably going to go, but they said it takes place in the Bikini Atoll in 1954. And to that I say, yeah, which test though? Because if you go on Wikipedia and look up Operation Castle, you'll see that there was a campaign with 6 nuclear bombs tested in the Bikini Atoll between the months of April to May. No, sorry, January, February, March. Yeah, between March and May. Hold up, let me just pull this up real quick.
As Raul does that, I will say something that I feel like I would be a bit more interested, because we did talk a bit about how we wanted more cohesiveness through the movies a bit, but I thought to myself, I think I really would like to see, well, at least one of these movies have like pretty engaging like human drama, or like a human aspect of it. obviously, like I said, they can't do this too much because, like, if you invest in the humans too much, even though you have Godzilla and these other monsters coming and making cameos back, when those humans are gone, it's such a different level of disconnect that you can't base too much of the movies around them. But I feel like that's why in the long run, Monsterverse would probably hold up better after 40 films than the MCU is currently holding up after 40 films. But like, I still want that aspect of that because I feel like human characters, because the monsters are cool, bro, but like they don't talk. You know what I mean?
No,
Most of
yeah.
how most of how I understand and feel about them is just due to humans commenting about them. Like
Right.
Godzilla wouldn't do that. He's a nice dude and all this shit. I'm like, yeah, for sure. I mean, I could probably with my eyes have seen that, but like having a human really understand that is a big draw to me.
Right, yeah. I definitely say, like, in terms of human characters... Oh, Miles, were you going to say something?
No, I was just scratching my head.
Oh, sorry. Anyways, I think... Sorry.
Good job.
Oh, man. Everything's going to shit. Anyways, I think in terms of the human characters, I think we're good in that department. In terms of some of the clips that I've seen, there's some really interesting stuff going on there. Like, the main Asian girl, what's her name? I just want to... Ah, crap. Where's my tabs? Oh no! Someone help, I'm lost.
Well, I'm sure you deserved it.
No.
Damn it.
Oh.
Well, as Rebel looks at about that, I can talk about something else that's bothering me. I'm 26 now, and I think to myself, I don't really do well with women. I think I've improved over time, but still, if I see a girl who's attractive, but let's say she has nothing on her clothes, so I don't have a point of to talk to her, like I can't say, I like that thing. I struggle to go over there and say hi and hit on her, maybe get a number. And I feel like I always thought I was gonna get better at this over time, and I think I have, but I'm still not quite there though. So I'm like, bro, am I even gonna get married? Am I gonna find love? Like, is there hope for me?
Uh...
Damn, you're still looking.
No, I
Okay,
found it. Okay. Oh, okay, thank
I was
God.
about to talk about, let's talk about goth girls, man. Go on, then.
Alright, so the main girl, played by Anna Sawai, she's playing Kate Randa, which, a lot of implications there. So she's apparently a former school teacher. But yeah, in the one clip that we see of her, which actually just came out today, she's like in an airplane, she sees some guys in hazmat suits, and then she starts getting PTSD flashbacks of the events of 2014, because there were some guys with hazmat suits who were working for Monarch that were there, that were just there to observe the devastation that Godzilla and the Mutos were causing. So there's something really interesting there. And also with Shaw's character, from some of the clips that I've seen, it seems that he's not too aware of what's going on in Monarch, so we're definitely going to see how he gets in and, establish himself in Monarch, and we're probably going to see why he left and is kind of threatening Monarch with what he knows. So, I think already there's a lot of intrigue with the human characters, based on the premise alone, even. Especially when you compare it to some of the Monsterverse films that we already have, where it feels like the monsters themselves are what push the plot forward, that push the action. But here it feels more human-centric. But in saying that, the human characters could also be very, very weak. I doubt it, but at the same time, it's a possibility.
Yes, yeah, I think that makes sense. And I guess you're right because at least from what we've seen, right, have what we have seen of. Actually, no, I forgot because Monarch is essentially this is probably going to be the show that exposes it to the public.
Yep.
I guess some level of event would happen, but let's say if it wasn't, I could be like, this would be a very human focused thing. If like, let's say there's no public event that has happened, then it'd definitely be a human driven story because if no big monster that is coming and destroy everything is out, the humans can do what they want. They can go to where they want to, not talk to whatever kaiju they want to, but like I'm interested in that because I feel like because I know we said this isn't going to affect the Monsterverse that much, but I feel like if they get really good reception on the human involvement aspect of it, though, I definitely feel like that could mean we have more of that going forward, even if with not all the same characters. So,
Yeah.
I'm hopeful with that. I'm hopeful with that.
Yeah,
Because I think the last movie, not the last movie, I think the only movie I saw in the Monsters where I kind of cared more so about the humans, which I think you didn't like in this movie, was like the first Godzilla 2014. I don't know, something about, because obviously like everything was new and people weren't quite understanding what's these monsters are doing, what's going on. But like I felt like at some point I at least cared a bit about the story with the humans. Then in the other ones, it's kind of like I'm not as invested, but
I mean,
I'm
hey,
not sure what the comment on that is.
hey, that was the one with Bryan Cranston in it. But no, I
Mhm.
agree with you. I think what drew, like, to this day, 2014 is still my favorite film, and I think what drew me to it to this day is how the human characters feel like actual people. And sure, they seem more generic in a way, but at the same time, you have Ford coming home from his deployment. One of the first scenes that we see Aaron Taylor Johnson in, and he's like greeted by his family. They go home and they celebrate him returning. They have a cake and it's just basic family stuff. It's like, oh, I can relate to this. I'm invested a little bit. And then one
That's good.
shit,
That's good.
yeah, and then one shit inevitably hits the fan. It's like, okay, here we go. But yeah, no, it's like, yeah.
I'm just wondering about.
Yeah, and you know what? Since we're talking about human characters, something that I've realized for a while, well, only now decided to talk about, character name, Kate Randa, and she has a brother. Now, the reason why I think this is really important is because her last name, Randa, uh, means that she'll definitely have familiar relations with another character that appeared in the Monsterverse called Bill Randa, who last appeared in Kong Skull Island and will also be appearing in this show. So that... Sorry, my Discord is going off. Holy shit.
Listen, how old is this person?
That's a good question because okay, so apparently Bill Randa is supposed to be her dad, which is kind of crazy. He looked like Bill Randa, the character, looked like he was in his 50s, I want to say, when he showed up in Kong Skull Island, and that happens in 1973. So with Kate Randa, it just raises a lot of questions. Is Bill Randa her father, or was he her grandfather, perhaps?
Yeah,
And
that. Mm.
and the plot even said that these two siblings, Kate and her brother, who I don't think he's in this cast list. Oh dear. Uh,
I'm sorry. I will hold that thought. Nathan, I need to hear you say words. I need to know you're awake.
Nathan.
Nothing. Nothing continues until I hear words, Nathan.
Nathan.
I think he's out.
No, he's here.
I am here.
Oh.
Good. Just making sure that because the last time I left those unchecked mic sounds, you were out.
Nathan, you sound a little tired. How about you get up and walk around a bit?
Last time I heard the sounds, I'm like, nah, bro. If I let it slide, he's gonna be gone. But yes, I'm sorry, Raul. I was thinking about death and Nathan. What were you thinking about, Raul?
Yeah, I was just thinking about these characters and their connection to Bill Randa. It's kind of cool that we get a few more familiar characters, but at the same time, yeah, sorry, I'm just getting distracted up the wazoo. Holy shit. But yeah, I think it's really interesting that we get these characters who do have some familial member of their family who is heavily connected to Monarch. And it's kind of weird too because they end up growing up not knowing of Monarch. I think the consensus usually is if you work for Monarch and you have a kid, you have them get conscripted as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess well, this is a bit interesting because well, hold on. As an organization, do we know? Because we kind of know about the origin of Monarch, I guess. But as far as their goals go, do you feel like a parent would have their kid and be like, you know what, I want you to be involved in what we're doing? Because
I mean,
you know,
every parent in this universe did that. Like, Kent, Ishiro Zarazawa's dad was like, I'm gonna tell you about these monsters, and don't worry about the guys in the black suits that will show up at my funeral. Don't worry about that yet. And then you have Millie Bobby Brown's character, who's both her parents worked for Monarch, and then inevitably she also got caught up in those shenanigans. Although I'm not sure if her character will end up working for Monarch. Uh,
from what I hear, there's a good chance we don't even see her character again.
oh yeah, no, she's not in Godzilla X Kong, I think, at
Yeah,
all.
but well, I was gonna brought up because I thought of because right, this is a very common thing. It's like my father, my mother did this, and I want to do this, and it's even and a lot of time you even see that trope in things when like the parents don't necessarily want their kid to do what they're doing, but the kid wants to do it anyway. But a version of this I saw, which I wouldn't be opposed to seeing more of, was in The Boys. Can't get into spoilers too much, but like Mother's Milk made it adamant they didn't want his daughter to know that he was part of that organization that's kind of trying to take down the superheroes because it's dangerous and he's obsessed with it. He doesn't want his daughter to kind of end up like him, which I thought was kind of interesting. And then like
Yeah,
obviously we can still go down the path of like I'm gonna follow in the footsteps of my father, kind of, but like it would be kind of interesting to see. Maybe there's not characters who exist right now who could do this, but like an idea of like a son maybe goes into the organization, or rather is just on completely opposite sides with their parents. Like maybe
yeah,
the parents say, well, we should do this way or this way, and the son says, no, this is wrong, this is evil. Like maybe we could build, like if we had to build some human drama up, I wouldn't be opposed to maybe seeing something like that in the future.
yeah.
But
I
there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, I only bring this up because uh, Kate Randa, it says here in her biography is that she was a former school teacher. So Monarch affiliate school teacher. Hmm. One of them gives you good pay. The other sure is a sniper shot to the back.
I'm an affiliate school teacher. I'm like to privately teach the kids of people at Monarch, or is this just a like an academy for Monarch agents? Like, I'm trying to figure out what she's doing.
I guess we'll find out when the series begins.
That's
Uh,
the good point.
Yeah. Another thing I kind of want to talk about is Godzilla for a bit. So, right off the
Zero.
bat, I'm just going to call this right now. I think the series is going to have like 3 major moments with Godzilla. That being the Bikini Atoll bomb, the Golden Gate Bridge scene, and his inevitable final showdown with the big bad of the series, which we don't know what it is. It's probably going to be another new Titan. I only bring this up because I'm seeing a lot of people online going on about, oh my god, it's the Godzilla TV show, when they should be saying it's a show featuring Godzilla.
Mm.
And it's like, I'm gonna bring up Angry Joe. He put up a reaction to the trailer, and he's like, oh my god, it looks so good. I'm just gonna say it right now. I think out of everyone who's gonna watch this, he's gonna be the most disappointed. Just gonna call it right now.
He was most. What's up? Hold on, I'm on a podcast right now.
Alright, so while Nathan does that, gentlemen, so, interesting little tidbit of information that I realized. So we see Godzilla sporting his 2014 spines, as he should, but we do also end up seeing him with the 2019 spines in the year 2015. So,
No, we don't.
yes, we do.
Those are like a growth spurt between the two, aren't they?
I don't know, man. The way they're advertising it, it does look like the 2019 spines. I guess
Because I saw I had saw something a while back saying that they were the 2014 spines growing into the 2019 spines.
Yeah, I guess my only problem with that is, what happened to him within that 1 year that 50 years didn't do. Because the spines were exactly the same throughout the Bikini Atoll campaign. And then here we are just 1 year later, it's like, whoop, new spines. So I will say, if the comics are canon, he fights the Muto Prime right after the 2014 event, and then regens new spines in 2015. My boy has incredible regeneration time. I'll give him that.
That reminds me. Do we know the lifespan of Godzilla?
Sorry?
Do we know the lifespan of Godzilla, by the way?
Oh my god, that's all over the place because
That's all.
Possibly billions of years.
But still up there. He's been around for a while.
Okay, so
Okay,
your time range is anywhere between 300 to 200 million years to potentially only 200,000 years?
Actually, yeah, you can see. Well, at least I know a long time. Actually, we're on the topic because I remember every now and then the human drama and how the series are largely about the monsters. But since Godzilla's inception, it seems that like the core of like his stories, or at least from what I've seen of all these kaiju stories, has to not to do. Even though it's about the monsters, it's always involving the monsters affecting the humans. Unless there's maybe just Godzilla or just kaiju stories that I heard about. But like, how do you guys feel about that? Adding parts to the lore that don't necessarily involve the humans. Because I was thinking about it in my head a bit. I'm like, I can't see a way that it really works. Because I feel like a very big part of this is us humans trying to understand them and their calling. We kind of see the eyes what's happening through the humans. Also, these monsters don't talk, so I feel like I can imagine like a 10-minute short film or like a small cartoon like that. But I can't imagine like a whole feature-length film or even a TV show that didn't really involve humans. It was about the time before the humans when monsters came by. I couldn't imagine anything like that. But just because I couldn't, do you think it even makes sense to try and explore what they were doing before humans showed up? Because I feel like it couldn't be that interesting, to be honest with you.
I think you could do like a 10,000 BC sort of thing. Have cavemen just trying to survive Godzilla fighting off other monsters.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I think they have that too. Like in the what's the word? Because in the one movie, you're talking about how the prophecy that involved Godzilla and Ghidorah in Came of the Monsters, and I thought to myself, when I look at the prophecy, that literally did look like cave drawings. So I guess.
No, yeah, it was. It was. Yes. Yeah. There's also.
I guess there was.
Yeah, there's also this like little bit of lore that hasn't been confirmed yet, but apparently there was a time when man and monster kind of coexisted, and you have some of these humans that were in a way force sensitive with them to make a comparison, and
was it like that Jenny?
No, it's like they formed some kind of like symbiotic relationship, and then something bad happened which triggered the Great Titan War, which could be one of 3 things. That being like Godzilla fighting off against Ghidorah, Godzilla fighting off against Kong, or just in general all the monsters just went free-for-all and they just started beating each other so bad that this ancient civilization just crumbled and humanity was like spread to every corners of the earth. That's what the novels implied.
actually, you know what that theory reminds me of?
What?
The Great Pokemon War theory.
Whoa,
it's not even a theory. They straight up like X and Y.
Oh yeah, that's true. They did say there was a Great Pokemon War, but that's the theory. Was like that's why there's not any fucking men around most of the time. It's just old men and just women and all that shit. Yeah, what? Oh, you're talking about the Lucario one? Whatever the fuck that was?
No, I was talking about the one that made Mega Evolutions.
Oh, I didn't even know about that one. I'm behind my Pokemon lore. I'm just saying.
The one with the Great Genesis? Where like 95% of the world's population got wiped out by a doomsday device.
And Pokemon, that's kind of fucking dark.
X and Y is the villains in X and Y just want to blow up the world and sell tickets to the safe house. That's the plot of the team.
I think it's how we get more people in the MonsterVerse. We make some villains, bro. Some human villains. I know we kind of had them in King of the Monsters, but that ended up resulting in the Mechagodzilla, which they lost control of. But like, shoot, bro. I mean, could you actually? It would be interesting if they do. Actually, that could be really fucking good. If they implement the idea of force-sensitive humans into the MonsterVerse. Maybe it's not everybody. Maybe it's a few people.
I mean,
but I
they
like the
already
idea
kinda
of a human having it, and then just kind of like trying to. I don't know, like what was that Game of Thrones guy who was in in these movies? He was like a bio or eco terrorist and shit like that.
like Tywin Lannister.
Yeah, Tom Lancer. His actor was in it, and he was like some type of terrorist, but for the sake
Yeah.
of these monsters, I think. And I feel like, what if someone like him was a fucking, I don't know, force sensitive with these friggin' monsters, and essentially, I don't know, like, because I feel like. But I feel like all good things gotta come to an end, and like I don't know when this MonsterVerse is gonna end. They can literally keep going for a while. Honestly, at this rate, they could go on for 20 years, and probably the fan base doesn't find that there's that much content that they feel overwhelmed by. But like, let's say if they had a finale, I'd say let's bring back force-sensitive humans, or how about this? Certain humans, or the few humans who have been established in these movies, starts to develop some type of feelings and sensations. Like, oh my goodness, I feel connected to the monsters. But at the same time, a bad guy gets even more sensitivity than them, and he's going to try and destroy the world for whatever reason.
Yeah, I could. See,
So yes,
Yeah, I could see that happening. I think
yeah.
I think one of the great things about the MonsterVerse is, despite it being based on properties that already exist, this being Kong and Godzilla, they're really giving the creators more leeway with some of the more unique monsters that they've come up. Now, sure, with Godzilla vs. Kong, we got like Godzilla Kong and Mechagodzilla, which is like one of the big 5 monsters in Toho's roster. But, like Mutos, the Skull Crawlers, and now we have Monarch Legacy of Monsters, which is introducing its own plethora of new monsters. So, yeah, like, not, so they have like the best of both worlds. They are making their own lore, but they also have the option to potentially get more or Toho original monsters and throw them into the universe as well. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. And it's just so they have options, and they're not like so far just like let's throw all the options at the wall.
Yeah.
Because from my years of watching anime and reading manga, after a while in the series, they just say, "Fuck it, let's just expand it." Because you can level up on a system, but then you can expand on it and do a bunch of stupid stuff. You don't know what true running out of ideas is until you watch a sports anime about tennis start to become supernatural tennis, and people have abilities and glowing balls and stuff.
Yeah. And it's
So-
like talking about the series overall, it's like in terms of what we've seen thus far with all the trailers and TV spots, all of that happens within the first 5 episodes apparently. There's still a whole other half we don't know of. And with that, I think there's going to be, just way more monsters, and I think we can all predict that there's going to be the big bad of the show. Someone's going to wake up the wrong monster, and then they're like, well, let's drive out to the desert and wake up Godzilla.
I do appreciate how they're only really showing stuff from like the first few episodes,
Yeah.
or at least the first half, because like I hate how trailers spoil some stuff. But this is good. It keeps me interested. I feel like I've seen, actually, in many ways, I feel like I've really seen fucking nothing. But
Yeah.
like that's good enough. It's like, yeah, I see some stuff. I see enough visuals to know. Okay, it's about Monarch. Here's some images. To be honest, more so the trailers and teasers to me, they're mostly just kind of like showing me a bit of imagery to make things interesting, but they don't reveal too much too. So like, I'm glad to see that.
Yeah. One last thing that I want to talk about is Miles, Nathan, feel free to mention this, but for me, the transition between Godzilla 2014 and Godzilla King of the Monsters was very abrupt, to the point where the Godzilla in both films feel like completely different animals. You have Godzilla 2014 where he, is like, what they said in the art book. He's like this last samurai. His days are numbered. He's just lumbering around. And then you have Godzilla and King of the Monsters that's like, gonna open a can of whoop ass on this 3-headed noodle dick. But yeah. And I think the one thing I'm really excited for in Monarch Legacy of Monsters is that is going to be the much needed transition between 2014 to King of the Monsters. And that's emphasized by the fact that we see both the 2014 design and the 2019 design. So that's going to be really nice to see the transition between this Godzilla to the next one. And with that said, there's also this really exciting element of world building that this is something I really wanted to see in King of the Monsters. I wanted to know how the public reacted to Godzilla. And we did get that in like the Congress meeting at the very beginning of that movie. But I wanted to know what people on the ground were thinking. I wanted to know what pop culture was doing. I wanted to know how the very idea of this thing existing reshaped this entire world. And from what I've been seeing thus far, like today, they just released a clip where guys in hazmat suits, as I mentioned before, were spraying people on an airplane with pesticides to get rid of parasites. And that is like so good. Like this is what I wanted to see, and I want to see like people like maybe on the streets or like music artists singing parody songs about Godzilla, because there's a few already written and published. It would be fun to see those being referenced. I want to see like talk show hosts making jokes. I want to see how the infrastructure has changed and what people are doing. And from the looks of it, we are going to get that, and I'm just like so fucking excited to see that element of the Monsterverse finally being realized. So good.
Actually, I will talk about that element, but in a different series, the Jurassic World series. How did you feel about what they showed in regards to like humans reacting to the fact that dinosaurs are out in the world, not just on the island?
It could have been way better. Like I think how they handled it. Well. I think how they handled it in the first Jurassic World was great, because they are on the ground floor. They are talking about how people are reacting to these things. But then when it comes
again. What's that sound?
What sound?
Nope.
Just making sure. You're saying the ground floor of things in the first movie?
Yeah, so I think how the first film handled the existence of dinosaurs was really good. But then you have Jurassic World Dominion, where they're out in the wild, where they're on the mainland and they're like multiplying. The story did not support that kind of element. Like, sure, we do see dinosaurs every now and again interacting with people, but it could have been so much more. It's like, what I wanted to see in King of the Monsters versus what we got in King of the Monsters. It's the same deal with that with Jurassic World Dominion. There's just so much more you could do with that idea, but they just didn't do it. Because the story that they made just did not call for that. So, I'm really excited to see Monarch Legacy of Monsters doing that. This is something I've been waiting for since 2019, since 2014, actually.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
but honestly, even though, because I know the story for Dominion didn't call for it as well, but I felt like, because I completely forgot, because I skipped the Fallen Kingdom for the Jurassic World series. I didn't even notice that till I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot a movie. But like at the end when they just tried to integrate all this all the dinosaurs, dinosaurs around, and this is just chilling. Like it was cool seeing some stuff like when we saw that one dinosaur there, and then the girl was like helping the construction guys of like deal with her or something like that. I thought, oh, that was cool. But the thing is, like, that was the only cool thing they involved, showing how humans interact with the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
and at the end, when they just said, yeah, it's fine. So I definitely see what you mean, though, because I feel like that kind of stuff is important. And even though that didn't help the theme of that movie as well, I felt like I wish they put more time into it. And I think you're right with Monarch. I think we're definitely going to get that. We're going to get to see that a lot more. And like world building is so important. Because I think I feel like a little bit of a world building whore. I like world building, but I just realized, bro, in most cases, it just makes sense. It enriches your story. Sometimes there's a level of mystery I notice that people have, but like I don't think here, and especially with this Monsterverse being a continuous thing, this is necessary. Monarch's very necessary just to help build the story in the Monsterverse.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely agree. So yeah, that's something I'm really looking forward to, and like from what I've been seeing, the first 2 episodes are going to be really heavy with that. And I'm just like really can't wait to see how this universe handles these things just exist and we have to deal with it. So yeah, that's going to be really cool. That's going to be really fun to see. But yeah, I think that's all the notes that I put down. I guess we could do some like predictions, some swing for the fences, and then we'll call it a night, gents.
Okay, then. I say my prediction, the main Asian girl, she's gonna be gay.
You know what? Her friend is cute, so yeah, maybe.
I mean, just a real quick, just put that, because I hear you chuckling. I hear you chuckling. We guys know how in almost every single movie or TV show, there's some unnecessary ass sex scene or forced romantic relationship. And it's dumb. I feel MonsterVerse, it's got almost none of that. I think they're ready. I think they're ready to put some romance or some gay shit inside MonsterVerse. So, you know what? I'm hoping it's her.
I'm gonna call it right now. I do agree with you, Lee, but I think that role will go towards Lee Shaw and a scientist character in the flashbacks whose name is escaping me, and I think her name is Keiko? Man, there is barely anything here. Jeez. Anyways.
Can I just say? Can I
Mhm.
just say I know a minor spoiler about that because of the early screenings people saw.
What's up?
Should I like elaborate on that, or should I just?
I mean, might as well.
remain-
We are trying to put down as much information as we can before the series comes out. So yeah, go ahead.
She is 100% gay, bro.
Oh.
She has a black girlfriend.
Okay.
Bro, I find out because the screening's already out, then it's not going to hit the same that I called it. Damn it, bro. We should film this shit like fucking 4 weeks ago. I'd have nailed that shit. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Raul, you said what you're looking forward to, I think.
Yeah.
Who else is looking forward to things?
Miles, is there anything you're looking forward to in the series?
I guess I'm looking forward to some human characters that hopefully aren't going to be like horrible.
Yeah.
Mainly.
Yeah, the Monsterverse has had a track record of bad human characters, with the exception of one, arguably, in each film. Pre-Kong Skull Island. like no, don't get me. I think, like for one, I think Kong Skull Island has the best cast of the entire Monsterverse. But I think the entire Monsterverse hasn't really had a memorable cast of characters. Like every now and then I need to remember that Brie Larson, Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, and John C. Reilly are in Kong Skull Island. Yet.
Oh, I don't.
Samuel
don't
Jackson, I
remember.
have to remember. He's the only interesting part of that movie.
Yeah. But, you know, it's like, you have these superstars, and it's like, oh yeah, they were in this film. How did I forget that? Like, it's not like I forget who Loki is.
It's like, you know them. You clearly know you should know them. But you see them the moment and know it's them. But when it's done, it's like, okay, and then now what?
Yeah. And then, you know, you have Brian... And then, you know, you have the single exception characters like Bryan Cranston in 2014, Ken Watanabe's Serizawa in King of the Monsters.
He did.
Sorry, Nathan?
Gia.
Yeah, Gia in Godzilla vs. Kong. But yeah, it's like, beyond
I was
that...
gonna say for me, in Kong Skull Island, John C. Reilly was definitely a very memorable character for me in that movie.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, you have all these great cast members, but you only get the one good character in the entire film. So yeah. Yeah, so that's what you're looking forward to, Miles. Nathan, what are you looking forward to?
What I'm looking forward to is the lore building as far as I've seen already clips and I've heard of the rumblings of what's gonna happen regarding like the response to these creatures, but I do find it very, very interesting and very, very exciting that they have contingency plans for a Godzilla appearance or a Titan alert or whatever,
Yep.
like they would to a hurricane or a tsunami coming.
Yeah.
And also,
No,
Also, just the fact that Kurt Russell's in it, that is like, I'm very much looking forward to seeing his character in this show.
yeah. Apparently, there's going to be some obscure The Thing references during that glacier episode. All right, that killed Nathan.
Well-
Good to know. But yeah, it's like. No, sorry, you go, Nathan. Lee.
Oh, yeah. Lee, yes. Why did I say my name? It was. I just want to think. Wait. So we have all our thoughts out. Did we get everyone?
Oh, sorry.
Did we get everyone? Is this all our thoughts, or these are closing thoughts?
Yeah, it's like for me, I'm really looking forward to the world building aspect. I'm also really I hope that in terms of what it does to the Godzilla character, that will serve as a much needed transition between 2014 and King of the Monsters, because again, those two individuals, even though they're supposed to be the same one, feel very, very different. Yeah. Also, one's last swing to the fence. I'm gonna say Monarch is gonna be the quote-unquote bad guy throughout the majority of the series, but then by the last few episodes, they're going to realize there's a bigger threat out there, and then it awakens, and it's going to be the big bad that Godzilla will need to fight and prevail over. Also, I'm pretty sure there's only going to be like 3 major moments with Godzilla in it. I'm just going to call that right now. I'm going to hammer it home because people are going to think that this is Godzilla the show when it's not. It is.
I'm not even sure if we.
Called Monarch.
I'm not sure if we get 3 major moments, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think we'll see him. I think he's gonna get 1 major moment and then maybe a few slight ones. But we'll see. We'll find out soon enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's everything we have to say about Monarch Legacy and Monsters. A little bit too much, not enough here and there, but you know what? Best way to go into a series like this. Yeah.
I feel like we could stretch it for another hour. Let's keep going.
No.
For 3 hours. I don't trust you to be awake. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I need to delete this chat so I could stop confusing you guys with the other chat where we're trying to organize a watch party this Saturday.
Yes, that's true. But hopefully, if you guys liked us, watch the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. And if you want us to see us talk about the Monarch show when it's finally done, let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah. Actually, who here wants to join me in the Monsterverse retrospective later in May, I guess?
Absolutely.
We'll see how caught up I am
doubt.
during that time. I think I may just go through all the movies before then.
Yeah, just come over to my place. I have all of them.
I'll be like, excellent. It's like, Lee, what are you doing here? I'm here to watch the entire Monsterverse.
You know what?
We can do that in 18 hours.
Alright, so when you say the entire Monsterverse, is that including the 2 TV shows? Because that's going to include another 12 hours into our watch time.
Might have to do TV. I want to do everything, but we'll see. Maybe one day we do the movies, then the 12. I'm not going chronological order. I mean, in release order. So we'll talk about that later. But for now, we should end off the podcast for now, though.
Yeah. Also, speaking of which,
because I feel like I'm dying on the inside.
Yeah, I can hear it. Quick note at the end. If you guys are if you want to go into Monarch Legacy of Monsters as much information as you need, the only 2 movies you need to watch is Kong Skull Island and Godzilla 2014. I don't think you need to watch the Skull Island animated series, mainly because, again, this series, along with Monarch Legacy of Monsters, were produced at the exact same time. And also because of the way they marketed it, a lot of people didn't know these series existed, or they thought they were being cancelled. I.e., Joey the Anime Man thought this series didn't exist. I'm coming for you, Joey.
We're going to kill... Actually, no, it's not the time. We're going to kill these talks. And thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Or listening.
It's definitely going to be listening. Alright, everybody. Till next time. And I'll see you guys this Saturday.
Bye.
In the next one.
Yeah.
We can use some help.